My kid's not going to lick his asshole while lying on my couch, okay?
I got that one.
Well,
I got that. We start the podcast.
I hit record, and that's the beginning of the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to 4Player Podcast, episode 471. My name is Nick Henderson. It's
Thursday.
It's the
Thursday,
15th.
September 15th,
15th.
2016.
Are you wearing a Fitbit too?
Yes.
Really just-
Do you have a problem with this,
This
Krispy?
really just completes the whole douche ensemble.
It kind of does, really.
I apparently look like a douche today because I'm.
No,
I'm,
you look great. You look great.
I feel like he needs a
look fine.
fedora.
I
or
don't
something
really
to
buy
top
what
it
you're
off.
saying,
You look
Krispy.
really good. I mean, that's a good color for you.
What, the blue? That's like the most, like...
Douchey?
We're all wearing
Say it.
blue and some
No, I
black.
mean, like, if it's not a white shirt, it's a blue one. It's not like it's green or
It could
pink
be
or
yellow.
I
Hello?
almost wore my R2D2 tie.
Could be awful. Oh, you
But
have an R2D2 tie and you didn't wear it?
Yeah.
He thought he
Then
would
you
have been
fucked
held in
up.
contempt of court
Right.
because he had an R2D2
They would have made
tie.
him go home and change and come back.
Oh man. Anyways, before I was so rudely interrupted by Brad Simons, who is also joining us,
Greetings.
full of excitement this evening as always.
I am excited.
Christopher Guthridge
Hey, how's it going?
and Christopher Davis
Howdy doody.
filling in for Nolan. By the way, if you're Nolan is like
Dead.
2 days. No, he's not dead. Nolan is 2 days away from being married,
Hitched.
hitched.
To being Mr. Bernadette.
Espiritu.
Espiritu.
Spiritu.
Nolan,
Mr.
Nolan
Mr.
Espiritu.
Doctor. Mr. Dr. Bernadette Spiritu.
Esquire.
So Nolan is out for the next 3 weeks. I know you're all sad. He'll be out. He's getting married on Saturday. He's going on a honeymoon immediately following, like literally the next day. So he'll be out for the next 3 weeks. But
that is typical.
so Chris Davis is joining us this week, and next week we'll have Jack, I believe. Jack,
Unless I kill him.
Jack Claxton, and then maybe we might, if we're lucky, we might even squeeze Mike in here at some point before Nolan returns. So look forward to that.
Jack and Mike.
Jack and Mike. We love those guys. We love having them on the show. So we'll probably have them very soon. I want to take this opportunity before we get started to do a little house cleaning. First of all, if you haven't joined yet, we recently started a community Discord. That's kind of like having chat in your pocket at all times. Kind of like having Twitch chat in your pocket. In fact, it integrates directly with chat or with Twitch.
And now Patreon.
And now Patreon, which we're about to hash out the specifics of that this weekend. But the point is, it's discord.gg/4player. It's free. All you have to do is go to that address I just gave you, sign up, and you are instantly connected to the community, to us, pretty much at all times. It's a lot of fun. So
And
go
it's
check
not
it
just
out.
text channels. It's actually voice channels.
Voice
too.
channels as well, which are going to come into play more in the future as well. So check that out.
It's actually very active in there.
It is quite active.
Yeah.
In fact, some might say it's more active than Twitch chat.
It makes us wonder why we ever even had a forum in the first place.
Wow.
It was a different time.
Anyways.
Self-deprecating.
I also want to apologize. First of all, I know I'm very, very late. I probably should have announced the winner of the giveaway for August a few shows ago.
yes.
Not
but-
halfway through September.
Not halfway through September, and I apologize for that. But we have selected a winner, and because we said we were going to give away a copy of No Man's Sky, which is still on the table for the winner, who I'm about to announce.
But you don't have to.
But if you would prefer something else, we are also willing to swap it with Deus Ex. Just gonna put that out there. I haven't told this person they've won yet. I'm not sure if they're in chat right now, but Piosht is our winner for August. I will be contacting you shortly via email or Twitter or what have you if you're not in chat right now to see if you would like either No Man's Sky or Deus Ex. If not, you're welcome to pass on it. I'll select a new winner. Either way, anyways, congratulations to Piosht. You are our winner for August. And in the month,
It's not rigged, you buttholes. You just got to leave a comment.
all you have to do is either leave a comment, leave feedback on any one of the podcast episodes posted throughout the month, retweet any of our podcasts when they go up on Twitter, and you're automatically entered. He did both.
Yeah.
So he got 2 entries.
It's so easy.
And you
He
know
asked
what?
a question almost like every podcast.
And
so.
boosted it. Or you can submit a quick read, too. If you have anything you want to write, 500 words or less, send it to me. We'll get it up on the site. That also enters you potentially for a third time to win the drawing for that particular month. So, yes, I know we're a little late, but congratulations to Piosht. I'll be contacting you shortly. again, if he decides to pass on both those games, we'll select a new winner, and I will cover that on Twitter.
I'm sure
whatnot.
No Man's Sky has received a few patches by now. Maybe this is a good thing.
Although, did y'all see, there was a patch a few weeks ago where people started saying that, like, planets that they had discovered in No Man's Sky were not saved anymore when they went back. I'm not sure if they've fixed that or not, because I haven't actually played it in a while.
Oh shit!
But
I
that
don't think
seems
that was
fucked.
actually a thing.
We're just
Can
kind
I-
of ignoring that trash fire. Let's.
Dad, don't be a dick.
I'm not going to call it
Don't
trash.
be a dick, Brad.
Just beat him with this pillow.
Just, I know it goes against every fiber of your being,
I-
Brad, but don't be a dick.
I was only kidding.
If we're confessing though, I haven't touched that game since the week after it came out.
Yeah, neither have I.
And that was my
But-
big hype. I
but-
have nothing to look. I'm done with video games. I think.
But also,
I have nothing to look forward to.
also on a related note, I haven't touched Deus Ex. In fact,
Yeah, neither
again,
have I.
since I got really frustrated, I'll be honest. Someone asked me this week, like, "Hey, what are you playing?" And I was thinking, I was like, "Well, maybe I'll play the Turing Test or Recore or something." And then I completely forgot. I haven't even started really delved into Deus Ex. I forgot that I own the game. I completely moved it out of my frame of mind.
Sometimes I get that
It's
question.
a good game.
Sometimes I get that question like at work. So what are you playing lately?
I'm gonna give Deus Ex one more shot, and I'm gonna do, because Krispy suggested I play with the standard control scheme, right?
Yeah.
Standard.
Why aren't you doing that?
Well, I tried. Well, okay, first of all, you would think that the control scheme designed for the game would be the best control
You would
scheme.
think, but the game was made by idiot people.
I mean, that was kind of my thought when I was playing
They're
Deus
idiot.
Ex.
They're dumb idiot people who don't know anything about what they're doing.
Hey, look,
It's just
Piost in chat. Piost, congratulations, you are the winner for the drawing in August. I know we're late, so don't point that out. We've already covered that. But congratulations, you are the winner. You have the choice between No Man's Sky or Deus Ex. If you would like either one of those,
I think he's
Let
actually
me know.
asking for a date with Joseph.
He doesn't return our calls anymore.
Like, I think it's really stupid that we need to be playing Mankind Divided. That's like a good video game.
I mean,
the only
I played
person
the
played it
shit
was
out of it.
Nolan, and he played it
Hey,
like
hey,
I'm
before
playing
I-
it. I've just not very
did you follow me on Twitter? I played that game for like 6 hours, and I wanted to just throw the disc out the window.
You did not play it for 6
I
hours.
put
did.
28 hours into it.
I
I beat
want to
it.
see your clock. Oh, you beat it?
Yeah.
Well, but you're not like a
You
real
beat it?
person.
I'm not a real
Remember?
person. Oh,
not
I'm sorry.
real.
Excuse me.
You beat it at 28 hours?
Yeah.
What a fucking trash game.
Yeah, garbage.
That's so dumb.
No Man's Sky is longer. You can get to the galaxy.
Yeah, for sure. So much more
Center of the
gameplay.
galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
Nick,
Piost.
don't use...
Pioche is accepting his copy of Deus
Wait,
Ex.
wait, you finished it? We haven't been talking. Did you not? Was it
I
just
will
kinda
contact
like,
you,
Okay for
Pioche.
you? Like what?
I really enjoyed it.
I mean, you fucking barely talked. You barely sneezed at it. Then you went back to talking about the Division, man. What
Well,
happened? Where's
no,
all the
no,
love
no,
for
that's- that
Deus
is-
Ex?
Patently false. Patently false. And besides, the weeks that you were talking about Deus Ex were ones that I weren't on the podcast.
That is true.
I don't think we had weeks where we.
No,
were
you
talking
did,
about
because I was not on that show. I was sick that week, which sucks because that's when I really wanted to just rip into that game. Anyways, the point, we're not talking about Deus Ex right now. The point
are we
is, I'm
talking
going to give it another shot. I'm going to try that other control scheme, and then we will maybe return to the conversation down the road. We did talk a lot last week about the PlayStation Pro, which was announced.
Oh, God, how did that go?
Oh, I forgot. Crispy wasn't
I
here last
wasn't
week.
here.
It actually was pretty good. I mean, it was a good discussion.
I mean,
We
like-
got a lot of the anger out actually before the
I'm sure you guys
so-
had a wonderfully productive and colorful conversation about this whole thing, but since I wasn't here, I just want to chime in and say, man, like, just fuck video games. Like,
I
what?
appreciate the
Like,
contribution.
what's up?
people
Like,
are echoing
why?
that
Why are
sentiment.
we already like on? I mean, at least with like when you had PlayStation and Xbox, they waited like 6 years before they came out with another version.
Well, we covered that in the
Okay,
in the
you're right,
discussion.
you're right, okay.
Let's
okay.
download our podcast.
I mean, yeah,
No, I don't. Have
you can
time.
find it on iTunes or SoundCloud.
Yes.
It's on both. You can download it.
He doesn't have time.
I don't
It's,
listen to.
and you know
podcasts.
what? It's even free.
He has to listen to
Yeah.
SNL skits on his.
Or you can check it out on our
when
YouTube
he's
channel.
Driving around Austin.
You can
Can't
get the
listen to
entire
it.
podcast on our YouTube channel.
You could in video form.
You know, I watched Popstar last night.
Oh, is that the one with Andy Samberg?
Yeah, it's good.
I heard it was good.
It's funny. You
Uh,
should watch it. It's at Redbox.
It's on my list. All right. So a lot of the comments we had on last week's podcast were, of course, centric to PlayStation Pro. So I was going to read a couple of them. If you would like to chime in, Crispy,
Yeah.
you're more
No,
than
this
welcome.
is good.
I know Brad's probably going to have some retorts. Whistlebottom left a
Fuck Whistlebottom.
He left a lengthy
No, I'm just kidding.
response with several talking points, I think, which I was kind of just going to cover those.
Let's
Is
go.
there a TLDR?
You didn't like cherry pick like the pro people, did you?
No, I mean, there weren't
Pro-
actually... No, I mean, did I? No, I mean...
God damn it, Nick.
Anyways, Whistlebottom said during the PS4 Pro discussion, Brad insisted a few times that developers will develop for the most powerful consoles. I'm going to disagree and say that while they may want to build for the most powerful hardware, developers are going to develop for what their publishers tell them to. And since publishers are interested in selling software, they're going to have developers build for the platform. Wait till I'm done. They're going to have developers build for the platforms they feel they can do that on. This is why there was so much shovelware for the Wii, and why there continues to be such a deluge of bad games on phones. The potential for sales made it worth the effort to make stuff for both those platforms.
But what's counter to that is you look at the huge install bases during cross-gen, like games at the beginning and end of a generation. Even though there were so many more 360s out there, the new Xbox was still the lead platform. Because it's the more powerful hardware. It's just that's.
But I mean, the install base for the PS4 especially is so large right now. It's not going to be an overnight transition to where it's suddenly PlayStation Pro is the dominant.
It is though, because it always has been.
Do you think enough people are going to go out on day one and buy a Pro to the point where suddenly within a month of its release, there's going to be more Pros out there than original PS4s?
No, but what I'm saying is it doesn't matter. I'm saying a month of PS4 sales are nothing compared to like the lifetime sales of a PS3. The Assassin's Creed on PS4 still sells better than the PS3 version, and it's like, why is that? Because people want to buy the fucking new pretty one, and that's why these publishers treat those as the lead platform, and the weaker versions get kind of like the short shrift.
And I'll just give you kind of, since Krispy, since you weren't here, I'll give you kind of the broad strokes of what we just in regards to what he was just talking about. They're going to develop
We've got two sets of benchmarks now, and Brad's saying that all the developers are going to be shooting for the higher one.
Yes, but and this is what I stressed last week. I think an important point to be made is that unlike situations where we referenced Tomb Raider a lot last week, where suddenly Tomb Raider or Rise of the Tomb Raider on Xbox One was so much better
than the 360
version, developed by two separate teams at two different times and two different platforms, when in fact they're going to be running the same disc. It's the same product for PlayStation 4 as it is for PS4 Pro, developed by the same team internally. It's really we really just kind of have to wait and see how it shakes out in terms of like the disparity between the PS4 performance and the Pro performance, because
you're right.
If you're not seeing like a dramatic dip in performance, then it's really not going to end up being that big a deal, at least up front.
There's precedent already for developers not really giving a fuck about the install base. I mean, my example would be, look at the Xbox 360 Slim, okay? So for the longest time, there were two models of 360 Slims. There was the 4 gig model,
yes,
and there was the 250 gig model, okay?
Yes.
If you had that 4 gig model, you couldn't play anything that required an install. You couldn't play Grand Theft Auto. You couldn't play, like, a Madden game. You couldn't play anything that had more than, like, a gig of an install. And if you did, you had to wipe everything else out.
And there was a crap ton controversy about that.
Well, that's because people were buying them because all they focused on was the price point, not realizing...
Exactly. They were buying them for kids and stuff like that. So, I mean, if you go and look at the install base numbers, I'm sure there were a shit ton more 4 gig units out there than there were 250 gig units. But did that stop, like, EA, the publisher of Madden, one of, like, Madden, FIFA, some of these, like, insanely popular franchises that reach more than just like core gamers? They were still putting these games out assuming that everyone was going to have that 250 gig console for that install base. This is a little different. I mean, there's more of a disparity here, and Sony has been really upfront with the fact that, like, oh no, we're going to make sure like every game submitted for certification on the PlayStation has to hit both benchmarks.
Sure.
But I mean, to say that developers aren't going to look at the higher one, develop for that, and then just hamstring it for the lower one, to say that that's not going to happen, I think is extremely optimistic.
Well,
we'll see. I mean, that's kind of like...
That's the thing. Just to move on, for the sake of moving on, we always say, like, wait and see. And sometimes, maybe you do wait and see.
And I did point out...
But I just wanted to, like, sometimes... complaining about things or being negative about things, I was tweeting about this the other day, can be seen as just like just not a good thing. Like it's not okay to be negative about something. Like people get a lot of shit for that. But I want to tell you that if it's something you truly feel, don't let that stigma stop you, because there are times when enough people complain that a company like Microsoft decides, okay, what we're doing with the Xbox One is a disaster. Let's take it all back and do it and not do it that way.
Let's cancel. Cancel Phantom Dust.
because well, I'm talking about the launch of the Xbox One and how you always got to be online and there's not going to be any used games. You're not going to be able to trade them.
They fire a few people.
Enough people bitch.
Backtrack on some.
And Microsoft was like, we can't do this.
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if we're going to change anything, but if you really think that we're going in a bad direction, just let the world know. I mean, it's not like you're hurting anyone. People act like it's very destructive to be negative, when in reality, I think that's.
I hope no one's going to look at me like a traitor.
No,
because I'll be honest,
it's not a war. It's
think. No, and I am also of the mind of I'm not super pleased with the fact that they're making this move, but I did pre-order one, and I'm leaning towards keeping it. And if I end up with one, I think we should absolutely have a night where everyone comes over and we compare games side by side.
For sure.
I think that would be genuinely interesting to start comparing games side by side.
At launch, it's probably not going to make that much of a difference. It would be more like,
I don't think anyone's gonna want to come over and look at your fucking aristocratic, shitty fucking bourgeois. Never mind. Just let's move on.
You're fucking super.
Yo, come on, keep going. Keep going, Brad.
Your two-story condo.
You're fucking British.
Reasonably priced
British PS4.
British PS4.
I don't know.
I don't know where you're going with that. Anyways, Whistle Bottom.
I'm seriously thinking about trading in my Xbox One and my PS4 for this slightly more powerful PS4. How fucking stupid was it? I could trade in my PS4 and my Xbox One and still have to spend money to get the slightly more powerful PS4. How fucked is that?
It's fucked.
It's fucked, but I think I'm going to do it.
Do it.
It's so fucked.
I hear they got some good trade-in specials.
But I think I'm going to do it.
All right. Whistlebottom also said, and I'm kind of paraphrasing. He left a pretty lengthy thing, but I don't want to spend too much time on it. He said, lastly, one of the reasons that Sony as a whole is suffering was because it made such a big investment into producing TVs with more features on the hope that the novelty of those features would sell them. It turned out people can wait a long time between TVs, even if they don't have the best version, quote unquote. And because consoles are not subsidized the way phones are, I think people will end up waiting on the PS4 Pro. Now, part of this concern is that they're starting to move towards treating consoles like phones. And I think that's kind of been the crux of this whole argument from the beginning.
Yeah,
one's saying that they are currently...
that'll be a blasted hellscape of an Earth we live in if that happens.
But I don't see that happening for a long time, if it ever happens.
And there was actually a statement from Sony last week after the announcement of the PS4 Pro. And, of course, this could be complete bullshit because it could just be marketing spin or whatever you want to call it, or damage control. But Sony came out and said PS4 Pro is they don't anticipate any additional hardware improvements or new models for the next, I don't remember what they said in
30 days?
30 days.
At least 1, maybe 2 years.
Yes.
That's why I said take that with a grain of salt. I don't think they put a number to it, but they were like, we don't anticipate any more upgrades in the near future. Whatever the fuck that means.
I fucking hope not.
Yeah.
But that is the fear. That is the crux of this whole. I think that is what's driving the fear-mongering right now as far as this console goes. Is this the new future? Is this the new reality of console gaming?
If it sells, and guess what? It's going to fucking sell.
I tell you what, I think the more realistic scenario here isn't this like cell phoneification of this medium. It's more of like following the Intel model of processor upgrades.
Well, it's the PCification.
It's the tick-tock scenario to where every other one is like the big major upgrade.
You mean where you go from like PS4 to PS5?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like PS4, PS4.5,
which is what I was
PS5.
suggesting.
So PS4 is a tick, the PS4 Pro is a talk. So the next one is going to be the PS5. No, this is a thing.
Did you just make that up?
I did not make this up.
But like,
I mean, I'm not saying I
if
don't
in 2
like it.
years a PS5 comes out, who's gonna want to buy that, knowing that in 2 more years maybe they'll have to get a PS5
I
Pro?
really seriously don't think we're going to see PS5 for at least. Like I think
For at
maybe
least what?
I think
They
4 years is probably more realistic.
They can't. They're gonna just snap the market in half. Like
But
there's so many people who still just have PS3s because they don't want to buy into a PS4.
My brother texted me. He said the other day. He said, "Thank God I didn't buy a PS4 yet."
Well, I mean, here's the truth of it, though.
That's terrible.
I mean, here's like the truth of the matter, and this is the way it's always kind of been. Fucking depends on the games, man. People can say all they want, like I'm not gonna buy another fucking console, and some people won't, obviously, because some people stick with a certain console for a very, very, very long time. But if people are just saying that out of principle, like I'm not gonna buy another PS5, I swear to God, if they announce PS5 and let me just pull something out of my ass here, like Metal Gear Solid 6 exclusive day one for the PS5. I guarantee you, a lot of those people who said that out of principle they weren't going to buy it are going to rush out to a store and buy it. It all comes down to
I
fucking.
think a lot of fucking obligated because we feel like we need to keep up with the fucking hardware. That's why we don't want them to upgrade.
Not saying it's a good thing.
I think a lot of the core audience might do that. I think like people like us might feel the fucking itch to do that. But I mean, there's a lot of people who buy consoles just because they're like the cool toy to have. They don't know what fucking games are on it. They don't give a shit what games are on it. They're just thinking like, oh, there's a new PlayStation out, and I heard it looks really good.
And think about how many people out there just buy
those people aren't gonna
these consoles just for like fucking Madden and shit like that, just to play one game that
and that's what I'm saying.
A marginal upgrade the following year.
Sure, and that's what I'm saying. Like the people who just buy a PlayStation because they think it's the thing to have in their living room. They don't really care too much about games, but it plays games. They like playing games every once in a while, but it's more of like an entertainment thing.
Maybe they'll play Blu-rays on it. Maybe
people
as a glorified Blu-ray player,
not
those
4K
people,
ones. But
those people will buy a PS4. And they won't buy a PS4 or PS Pro, and they won't maybe not even buy a PS5. Who the fuck knows? The people who are going to be buying pros are going to be the people who are core, quote unquote, core gamers, salivating over better performance. Like the argument against from the PC side to the console side has always been performance.
Yeah.
And of course, people who are diehard console players who have no interest in buying PCs or whatnot. The idea of spending a little bit of money getting a console that performs better, more like a PC maybe, those are the people that are going to go out and fucking upgrade.
Yeah.
But who the hell knows?
Dude, I mean,
let's move on.
We're all going to die one day.
Yeah.
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 just common myth. I'm a PC gamer. I don't upgrade my hardware all the time. Bought a $300 graphics card 5 years ago. Still going strong. Let's not throw around PC gamer as this person who's like, has disposable income and who upgrades hardware all the time, because it's just not true. Playing Recore on PC. Turned down enough shit that it's running a good frame rate.
Oh, God.
What you're saying is console players and PC players might not be that different, Brad.
Not so different.
I'm saying you can be a PC gamer and still want your console to be a console. You know what I mean?
Sure. And again, I want my console to be a console, so I'm not super thrilled about this. I'm trying to be.
I'm probably going to get one too, Nick.
I'm trying to maybe be the optimist here to a degree, or the voice of reason, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But I'm not.
Wait. The optimist equals voice of reason in this case? I don't believe.
I mean,
what
sorry.
Are you talking?
Sorry.
I thought I was the voice of reason.
You're never the voice of reason, Brad.
No.
What's the word? What was the word I'm looking for? You know what? Don't even answer that question. I don't want to hear the answer from you, Brad. The point is, let's move on from this conversation. Guys, if you have any thoughts on any of the stuff we're about to talk about tonight, Recore, the Turing Test, The Last Guardian, all this shit, if you have any comments, have any thoughts, leave a comment on the post for this podcast, and we'll read it at the beginning of the next episode.
Sorry, Nick. It is a big topic that we're going to be...
Yeah, no, we'll talk about it. It's going to come up a lot.
We're going to keep coming back to it well past its launch.
We're going to fucking come back to it when Final Fantasy 15 is out. We're going to come back to it when The Last Guardian is out.
Deal.
We're going to come back to it a lot.
Deal.
I couldn't help but notice that you mentioned everybody's game but mine.
I was just pulling off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Link to the Past. You're going to play Link to the Past. You're talking about Link to the Past. I didn't mention
I'm just feeling a little jilted
You didn't
right
mention
now.
my
I
game?
didn't mention Chris's game.
You didn't say Attack on Titan?
No, I didn't. I said Recore and the Turing Test, which, by the way, are the games that I played.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Okay.
of course, they're on the top of my mind.
Okay. I see how it is.
Brad, your thing is unplugged, right? I'm going to assume. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a yes. All right.
For sure.
Anyways, so let's
carry on.
Let's jump into it. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Where do we want to start with games? Brad, where would you care to start? Well, maybe I'll determine where we start.
Hey, I'm ready.
Oh, Brett.
I'm ready.
He's
All right,
back.
he's turning his mic back on. Hello.
Let's talk about Recore.
Wait. No.
Okay.
Let's talk about A Link to the Past.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That wasn't very smooth, Nick, but have your wish.
Yeah, let's talk about A Link to the Past.
Let's talk about A Link to the Past, Crispy.
Let's do it.
Crispy played his first Zelda game ever.
Yay!
At this point,
my
so
first
Crispy has had
Zelda.
2 sessions with Legend of Zelda.
You know,
A Link
when
to
you
the
say
Past.
it like that, though, it doesn't. It sounds like I've never even touched a Zelda game before, which isn't true. I mean, once upon a time, I got a fair way through Ocarina of Time.
My favorite game of all time.
I played more than an hour of Wind Waker.
More than an hour.
Wow.
I rented Oracle Seasons back in the day and turned it on once or twice.
So just out of curiosity, Crispy,
You're like a Zelda pro.
I'm an old guard fan of the franchise.
So what has exactly kept you? Why exactly do you hate Zelda? That's what I.
The combat system, from what I
think,
understand, the same
Go
reason you
fuck
hated it the first couple hours.
Go fuck yourself.
No, I don't
I'm just kidding. You don't hate Zelda.
I don't hate Zelda at all.
But what
I
has kept you from the series?
I don't know. Because I even think of it very fondly. Like I think of Zelda as being really I like the whole look, he's swinging a sword and he's hitting people.
How
and
about that
it's-
music?
And it's fantasy, but it's kind of cool and cartoony. It's great. I love
That
it.
loop though.
I don't know. This
loop?
is
Oh, you have the music loop in Link to
Yeah.
the Past? Well, it's a little more jarring in Link to the Past than it is in the newer Zeldas.
I actually prefer Link's Awakening version of the overworld theme, but hey.
Yeah, tell me about it. There's no reason why I haven't finished a Zelda game. I have no excuse. It's just the winds of fate have always blown me another direction.
The Winds of Fate. That sounds like a Zelda title.
But
Star Wars games, that's what he's saying.
Star Wars games, yeah, I've always played a Star Wars game instead.
So how are you liking Link to the Past?
Link to the Past is pretty cool, man. It is. It's a Zelda game, and it's a thing that I'm playing right now.
How
Well,
about
no, you can't say that because you're not a person who's played a lot of Zelda games. So
I won't say that.
So
I didn't.
I recommended this to you as kind of a Metroidvania because more or less, that is what Zelda is.
It does.
It's like
share,
isometric Metroid.
It does share a lot of the same DNA with the whole like going through a dungeon, finding a new ability, going back to an area you were already before.
that gameplay loop is there?
Yeah. So which is hella satisfying. It's really cool to get I got the power gloves and I was like, oh, I bet that fucking rock that was blocking my path before won't be such a problem now. And I went back and sure enough, Link's just fucking hoisting it up over his head.
And that shit is still cool.
Yeah, it's fucking beautiful. It's great. It's tough for me to play these old classic beloved games on the feed that I have absolutely no experience with whatsoever, because it really just makes you feel like the dumbest, loneliest, saddest man in the world.
No, I understand that.
It is tough.
That's
man.
exactly how I felt playing Metroid.
Yeah, it is.
Super Metroid.
It is tough, man, because everybody in the world who's played this game has played it at least a fucking bajillion times.
Only the people who want to chat. There's a lot of people who are silently watching and don't want to admit that they haven't played it.
And they're new people showing up that I've never seen before who are only there because they want to see some Link to the Past. And it's I'm sorry that you got me. I might be the only person. I might be the only person streaming this game on Twitch at the moment, and I am sorry.
But that's exciting for some people.
Hey, Crispy. Smiley Lissa says that just to let you know, you played the game better than I did.
Oh, I
don't know what that means.
That's awesome, but that's kind of a low bar to
Okay.
It's a race to the bottom, really.
I have a serious question. What do you think of the combat system?
Okay, so
Stop it.
I was talking.
It's not a combat system.
system, right?
Just elf swinging your fucking sword, man.
These are the terms we speak in now. I was talking to Brad about this before the show, and it's
30 seconds of fun. It's just a great loop.
It's got a little, it's a little rough around the edges. And I completely understand that it's just me being spoiled by modern, 3D real-time action games. Thinking of something like Dark Souls, right? That is a game completely built around its real-time melee combat, right?
Yes.
And then you go back to something like Link to the Past, and when it doesn't have every iota of responsiveness and flow that a game like that does, you're just like, this is fucking broken, and you just want to throw your controller.
Yeah.
But it's funny you say
but
that.
coming from, I can see where coming from the evolution of games that came before this combat system might have been real like, whoa, that's awesome because
he called it a
there
combat
is-
system.
There
I
is,
know.
oh, shut the fuck up. Because there is elements like positioning and like you have a shield. It's not like you press a button to put your shield up or anything, but you do have a shield that helps you out in a lot of situations. Once I figured out that I could just walk towards archers and their arrows would bounce off my shields, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Like,
Combat
that's great.
system, right?
Yeah, it's cool. It gets a little frustrating when it's like, oh, you got to hit the guard on his right side, his sword side, but
That's you have frustrating. It's dope.
You have 4 directions that you can move
Dude,
in.
that
like,
right there.
You know,
What you just said is by far the most frustrating problem I have with this
Well,
game.
you can move at an angle.
Yeah.
Dude, using a D-pad.
You just can't swing it.
You know what though? I think part of it
I'm-
too is I'm playing on the Wii U Virtual Console and I'm using that Wii U controller, which is fine. I played all of Aria of Sorrow like that, and it was fine for that. But that's a side-scrolling game.
Are you using the D-pad or the analog stick?
I'm using the D-pad.
Okay.
You can use the analog
Yeah, I
stick?
don't think you can use the analog stick.
You can.
Really?
Was that an option back when I played it?
I was just recording this.
Was that an
footage, like,
option?
an hour ago?
Was that an option back when I
you were
played it?
playing the Wii version, not the Wii U version. So you had to use that fucking.
I'm pretty sure you could.
It doesn't matter. My point is, I was playing it last night, and I couldn't help but feel like, fuck, I wish I had just emulated this game so I could like use my DualShock 4 or something, because I think that would be a better controller.
Yeah.
But yeah, slight little rough around the edges.
But it's funny you're
Janky
saying like
combat side.
janky because
It's not janky. It's just don't.
Well, no.
It's not precise. It's not precise.
Don't get all fucking butthurt, Brad.
No. This isn't. I want to explain something
Okay,
to you.
okay.
This isn't about being butthurt. It's funny you say that because like this Super Nintendo game, well, along with like Super Mario World or Super Metroid, they came out at a time when like 2D was at its most polished. Like
Right.
you go back to like an old NES like version of Zelda or Metroid or Mario, and it's way like, you know, the early days of like side-scrolling like 2D stuff, and it's that is stuff is legitimately janky. People look at these Super Nintendo games as like the most polished like 2D games out there, and right after the Super Nintendo, when you start with like, you know, the PlayStation and the N64, early 3D is actually like really quite janky.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just at the time, but even looking back, like years later, you looked at these as like super polished 2D games when you were struggling with, you know, 3D cameras for the first time. So like in many respects, this has always been actually a very polished experience. It's just
sure.
different.
Well, for sure, but you know, we also live in the fucking indie golden age where everybody and their mom is making games kind of inspired by shit like this.
And some
a
control
lot
worse.
of them, some of them are worse, but a lot of them have kind of like nailed that feel a little better. I feel
Well,
like.
I mean, you
But
played
that
a
is
couple
purely-
hours of A Link
that is-
Between Worlds,
that is purely a function of, you know, progressing methods and technology. I mean, this game's been out for 25 years, 26 years now, 20-something years now. So, I mean, obviously...
30 years.
Yeah, 30 years. Obviously, somebody else, like, came up with some... Like these things progress, they get better, and that's fine. And this isn't a criticism, and I know next week we're going to have a fucking comment on the feedback section that's like, you're dumb for thinking this isn't anything but...
Well, I mean,
amazingly polished.
I don't even think it's
wonderful,
that. I don't
like-
even think people have to say that because they probably know that by the time, you know, you're done with this thing, you're gonna look back going, oh, this is just different. Like that's what I was trying to show you with Castlevania.
I'm not even saying that now.
It's like classic Castlevania wasn't like jankier than Symphony of the Night.
No.
It's like Dark Souls versus Bayonetta. It controlled different.
We are very much saying the same thing two different
Yeah.
ways, I feel like. So I agree with you. I don't think it's jank. It just feels jank. You know, it just feels different than what. I'm really enjoying the game. Anybody
How about
else have
that
any other
music,
questions?
though? How about that music, though? Music?
Well,
Yeah, the music is
how enjoying
is-
of it are you?
Did you?
Do you want me to put a number on it right now? Like,
well, I mean,
game.
how motivated are? I mean, like you're still playing Metroid Prime. You know, you were kind of like, you know, how motivated are you? Like going forward, are you excited about seeing more, getting to new dungeons, finding that elusive dark world?
Well, I don't experience excitement or joy anymore about anything in my life. So
is it the post? Is that because of
post
romance guy?
That's a difficult question to answer. I'm dead inside, but
if
it doesn't make me want to kill myself.
Like, oh, okay.
I guess
based on what you played, is there anything you expect to be able to try out, or is there anything you're excited for?
I don't even know what like the actual arc of this whole thing is, because I really thought that like going through those temples was going to be like the big thing of this game, and you
spend more time out in the overworld.
Yeah, I've put like
these early temples are a joke.
I'm not that far, and I've already done 2 of the 3 temples. It's like I have to do 3 temples to even get the Master Sword.
Yeah, but honestly, like Ocarina, Ocarina of Time in a lot of ways is a 3D almost not one for one reinterpretation, but like it treats a lot of the stuff, this content the same way.
There's 3
in Ocarina of Time. The first 3 dungeons are super short, and in comparison to the temples that come after you become an adult in Ocarina of Time, are way shorter.
Very much. Like
I just don't know. I just don't know what the game looks like after I finish these temples and get the sword.
I
don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it looks like once like the whole Dark World. Like I just had my first experience with the Dark World, where I found the little portal. It sucked me through, and I was in the Dark World as a bunny rabbit, and I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And
now
it took me a minute to figure out that I just needed to look at the mirror.
What I'm actually most excited about with you playing this is, obviously if you keep going and you end up finishing the game, I'm wondering if it's going to have the same impact as like playing Metroid did on you, where you're like, I have to go play all the Zeldas now, because
I think
because there are some especially in my case there are especially some 3D Zeldas that I think you should get serious about playing. But obviously I think this is, unlike me, you're starting from the 2D perspective and moving forward. So
I bet by the end of it, you will absolutely.
It's a great game.
Want to try some more Zelda games. I think A Link Between Worlds would be great to play after this.
A Link Between Worlds is so good.
Right,
it's easy.
Direct sequel.
Yeah, and it controls brilliantly.
I played.
It's the same overworld.
A Link Between Worlds is the same overworld. Yeah. So if you play this game and you learn it,
I played through the first dungeon of A Link Between Worlds as well. So I did.
It's weird. It's actually weird that you stopped though. Like I'm surprised you didn't. I mean, that's probably maybe even the best entry point. Into the
do you think some of it could be because I think a lot of that game was a lot of Link Between Worlds kind of hinged upon people's nostalgia for this game, and like
is it? Well, no.
I think I like this kind of brings me. This kind of brings me to another point that we talked about on Twitter and we talked about before the podcast too. Like I'm enjoying this game. There's a lot of fucking pressure to just be like, I really hope you're a big Zelda fan when you finish this game. And I'm not feeling it yet. I'm like, yeah, it's a fun game, but like I don't know what you want from me. Like there's such this desire to like curate other people's like first time experience.
But nobody's saying you have to be. I'm just saying I know
you're not saying that. I know you're not like trying to put that pressure on, but like that's what it feels like. Like that's kind of like I feel like if I finish this game and I'm just kind of like, yeah, that was cool. Like everyone in the world is gonna be like, I don't get it. I don't understand. Why didn't you see what I saw? And I'm like, but it was a fun game. I enjoyed my time with it. Like Metroid Prime is getting to be a little bit of a weird topic too, because like I don't know. I don't understand why some things don't resonate with me. Like I don't get it. I can't even really tell you what my problem is beyond the control scheme for the fucking Wii version of Metroid Prime.
Everything is subjective.
It's just like I don't know.
That is why we talk about these things, because everyone's opinion is a little bit different. Okay?
Metroid Prime's more divisive, I think, than something like that.
Let's be honest.
Because of the controls.
The controls in that game are shit. So, anyways, let's move on. I'm glad you're playing it, Krispy.
No, me too.
I'm
definitely going to keep going with this.
We'll check in on your experience with Zelda in the near future. All right, Brad. Now let's talk about Recore.
Well,
you and I both started Recore.
We both barely scratched the surface of this game, right?
Yeah, I was planning on getting it. I was trying to squeeze in like 2.5, 3 hours of it last night, but it took an hour for the fucking thing to install on my Xbox, which was just infuriating.
Hey, I would have taken an hour to install an Xbox over what I had to go through to get it installed on PC. In fact, I did install it on Xbox, and I started playing that version first.
But I did play about an hour and a half of the game, I think we're kind of in the same spot. I think you might be a little bit ahead of me, and I do kind of want to start by saying, my initial impressions of this game are actually fairly positive. But I know, and I've heard people talk about it, like, because the reviews of this game. Honestly, I haven't looked at the review scores. What are the reviews? Like, what's the fucking average score in this game?
Well, I mean, maybe it'd be good
5s
if you
and
didn't.
6s.
Yeah, so like,
Wow, really?
It's
But-
at 65 on Metacritic, I think.
but that's respectable. That's
No, I know it's not 5s and 6s. It's,
But it's just,
When it's like that, there's a good possibility.
the
it's
entertainment,
subjective.
the enjoyment of this game, I know I've heard is kind of front loaded.
But yes. But
But-
you also got to understand that something that's averaging a 65 on Metacritic, that doesn't run all that amazing, doesn't look all that amazing, and has a lot of bugs. It's gonna lose points right off the bat. Like people, above all else,
It's gonna have
when
a
it
hard
comes
time.
to reviews, like games that get reviewed well. It's polish.
Yeah.
It's polished AAA experiences. An Uncharted game would, of course, never get below a fucking 9 because it's so beautiful and polished and sexy and smooth. Like despite anything else. I mean, in spite of anything else,
I feel like a game like this-
game lacks so much polish, and of course the scores are going to be lower. So I look at that score and I have to take that with a grain of salt because I look at something like Alpha Protocol or Anarchy Reigns or Nier, and those are games that, again, they all kind of look like shit, they all kind of run like shit, but
You give it like a 1 or 2 point adjustment.
I mean you kind of have to.
I feel like a game like this is always going to have trouble topping 7. When you're
No,
looking- when you're looking
absolutely.
at scores. But with that said, like my initial time with the game, I was kind of immediately interested in what was going on in the game as soon as it started. They don't waste a lot of time. There's not some like grand cutscene at the beginning. It just kind of throws you in, and you kind of like piece together what this world is. Just kind of from the get go, just hearing the characters talk and interact with each other, and they don't really tell you everything that's going on, which I kind of liked.
Right.
So. You start in this desert. You're literally just you and this dog-like robot creature.
His name is Mac, you fucker.
Sorry, Mac. Sorry, I haven't even played enough of the game to really commit the name to memory. But I just like that I kind of thrust you into it, and you don't really know what's going on. You just kind of piece together that okay, this takes place on a planet that's far away from Earth. She's there for some reason. She is currently alone. And something has gone wrong. Like she's been like asleep for something for a long period of time.
Yeah, the way the story unravels is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, I was immediately kind of drawn to what's going on. I don't know if it's going to keep that momentum and keep me interested or invested the entire time. I'm sure by the time it's all said and done, like the story is not necessarily going to be this game's strong suit. But right from the get go, like the platforming, the world, the combat all seems pretty fun.
I hear the story is one of the strengths of the
Really?
game. Yeah.
Well, that's
I'm telling you.
good to know.
Like the problems of this game are jankiness, the fact that it's kind of ugly and kind of glitchy and kind
I'm
of
curious,
framey.
because the demo we played at PAX and E3 and whatnot, it was that very interior demo, like interior space, and
Yeah.
you're going through caves and shit. This game starts and it kind of throws you out into this like open, overworld desert area.
Yeah.
Do you still think it's as ugly as you thought it was at PAX?
Well, I mean, I still think it's a pretty ugly game, but I think it looks better outdoors just because it's not as dark. I mean, it's just a bunch of sand and rocks, though.
I think it lacks technical polish, but there's something especially in that first area that
like
I
I
thought
don't
was
even
kind
think this. Like people talk about like this game. This game doesn't even have like a dis. What? Okay,
doesn't have what?
I'm not gonna say it. Like
Say it.
Say it, bro.
Use your words.
Say it.
You've started to say it twice now. Now you have
like
to.
with the art assets, it just kind of generic as fuck.
Dude, for
just
sure.
just the art assets and stuff, it's not. It's definitely not like a distinctive art style or anything. It just looks like they're going for somewhat photorealistic, even though it's science fiction. Even if it was like super polished, it's
kinda
still
muddy.
It still wouldn't be like this amazing looking thing.
Sure.
I don't think this is like a Borderlands game before their art style reboot.
The technical polish. I mean, the technical look of it is kind of muddy. You know what it kind of reminds me of? Kind of reminds me of like I Am Alive, like
Yeah.
in terms of technical prowess. Everything looks a little muddy, a little bit faded. I don't know.
What I like about this game is that it's not like other games aren't like this anymore. Like there's a lot of like platforming.
It feels very gamey, which I wasn't really expecting.
Yeah, exactly, gamey, in the best use of that fucking word. So many of these modern games with like, hey, this has Tomb Raider style climbing around in it, which is so insulting to like what those old Tomb Raider games actually were. But it's the whole like handhold shit, like, oh, this ledge is a little glowy, so let's move along this ledge. It crumpled a little bit. The stuff that's in fucking Uncharted and Enslaved and
the new Tomb Raider.
And the new Tomb Raider, or even like a shit like Assassin's Creed, where, nothing about the platforming seems like dangerous or like challenging. It's just something you do. It's traversal. Like here, this has platforming. This is not traversal. It's fucking platforming. And that ties not just into like, tricky obstacles, but it ties into the exploration as well. When you're like climbing like a rock surface, it feels like you're actually fucking achieving something, getting high up. When that doesn't exist in modern games, it's like in the modern games, you have a pre-scripted path pretty much that they expect you to go up. And it's not supposed to be an obstacle. It's just supposed to be something you do along the way. And this is so much, it's so refreshing because of that.
With consideration to this, the way the gameplay is going here, and just all the platforming and all that, and the fact that it is Armature, the guys that made Metroid Prime. Mm-hmm. This game really does kind of look like a modern spiritual successor to Mega Man Legends.
Okay, so some people have drawn that conclusion. I don't know how accurate that is.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But I've heard it before. You're not the first person to draw comparisons to Mega Man. But
it's because Keiji Inafune is working on it.
No, I didn't even bring.
I kind of see what you're saying. I kind of see what you're saying. I mean, you're not wrong. It actually seems kind of like a blend between both Mega Man Legends and a Metroid Prime game. But it's its own thing, and it's kind of super unpolished.
I think
while those games were very polished.
But most surprisingly, like I booted up the game, started playing.
Like, look at that! You walk out of that fucking storm while going slow, and all of a sudden it's just like the effect is gone, and you're in full sprint.
It's jarring.
Like it doesn't have. Do you see what I was saying? Like after I came back from PAX, I was like, look at the charge shot animation. How it goes from like 3 different circles with like no animation in between.
Right.
You were saying, well, maybe that's a look that they were going for. No, that's missing animations.
You know me, Brad. I'm always trying to be the optimist, okay?
It just kind of looks bad.
I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, okay?
Very much.
Okay?
Well, hey, no one wants Armature to succeed more than me, and you can't argue against that.
Suck my dick, Brad.
Also, Pylon 512, Armature is an Austin studio. 512 is our area code.
512 is our area code. Anyways, I think... one thing I want to point out.
Down 7 to go.
Started playing the game last night, and I was instantly kind of taken back by I think the way the character moves, the way the combat's kind of snappy, how like there's so many like collectibles and things that you actually like customization when it comes to your Mac, your robot. It's just fun. Like at least from the I know that it's kind of front loaded from what I've heard, but like. My initial impression was this game is fun to play.
It's the gating. I hear that it's actually people get so frustrated by the end of this game because you get to the end, you're finding these prismatic cores, and you get to the end, and it's like, okay, no, now you need to go get like all of them.
Yes,
I heard that. It's kind of like, remember in Beyond Good and Evil 2, where it's like at the end they're like, now you need I'm sorry, Beyond Good and Evil 1. Now you need all these fucking pearls, and you're like, that's a lot of fucking pearls. Except you find a volcano that has like 20 of them in there, and you're like, I
forgot about that.
I see what they did. They just sort of rushed. I mean, the game wasn't, they just sort of rushed it out. But like, imagine that in this game. Like, now you need 50 prismatic cores, and you actually have to go spend time finding them.
Dude, but the difference is back.
You know what? You just fucking hit the nail on the head, man. I think that was it. I think that was the moment where Metroid Prime just started slipping out of my brain. But when I got to that fucking temple, and they're like, "Okay, go find all the relics." I was just like,
a lot of people get a lot of people get hung up exactly there. It get really frustrated with the hunt for the relics in Metroid Prime. Thing? You're not wrong. That's not an Armature thing. It's just games maybe that get kind of rushed towards the end. But the thing about those relics is that they're actually like very clever like puzzles involved into like finding them and stuff, and you really got to hunt for them. I would say it more feels like say the Triforce quest at the end of Wind Waker,
which is not really an issue in Wind Waker HD, by the way.
I mean, have you played HD?
Yeah, I finished HD.
Okay,
Dude,
I mean,
yeah,
I got to that Triforce quest, and even though it was better, it's still where I fell off.
I finished Wind Waker HD.
Okay,
It's
better.
It is better. Anyways, perhaps one thing we haven't really explained much is what the core conceit of this game is. The core conceit of its games. So, on just to kind of give people kind of an idea of what this game actually is. So, you have what they call like a frame, which is like this robot character, and what you're doing throughout the game is collecting these cores, which are like colored orbs that provide energy and whatnot. And
they change the color of your bullets.
Yes, and they do change the color of your bullets, but you put them into your frame, which is your little friend here, Mac, and it changes his abilities and the way, and you can customize the robot, and it boosts his stats and gives him different attacks and whatnot. But every core kind of gives them different abilities.
And later in the game, you can swap out the cores.
But like all the enemies in the game have cores too. So when you're actually when you're in combat, you can either shoot them and attack them until they die, and like you whittle down their health and they explode, and you collect like machine parts, which you can then use to customize your robot and give them new pieces and stats and stuff like that. Or you can whittle their health down to a point where they're you weaken them to a point where you can actually grapple onto their core and yank it out of them before they die, which actually is one of my favorite aspects of this game so far, and this is going to be kind of a weird comparison Krispy might appreciate, but like, and you may have seen him on the footage do it before, but like you whittle down their health bar and then you throw this like grappling hook at it, and then it's like this mini game where you're kind of pulling this wire to rip the core out, but it starts to turn red, and you have to like kind of ease up on it when it turns red, and it's just this kind of like tug of war back and forth until you finally pull it out, which kind of reminded me of the Ghostbusters game, which is like the one thing I like that wrestling with that one thing about that game I fucking love, but the wrestling with the ghosts.
It is way simpler in this.
Sure, it is way simpler, but like that, a lot of the mechanics in this game are simple, but I think they are all fun.
Yeah, fun. I'm just worried that by the end of this thing, they're gonna stop being fun.
Sure, but then I've also heard the game is not very long, so.
So you do actually you can swap out the robot's cores, like you can put the Mac core in other. Yeah. Robots,
so the weird thing is, and this is
which
what
is cool because they have different special abilities.
They mentioned this in the Bombcast, and I didn't realize this yet playing it myself. But like you call Mac, you're referring to this dog creature, right? But Mac is actually the name of the core in the frame. So the blue orb. When you take the blue orb out of the dog-looking thing and put it in the spider-looking thing, that spider is now Mac because you're referring to the core.
Yeah. Oh, it's kind of like the president. Any plane he's on is called Air Force One.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Sure. Not exactly. So the president's the core.
So the president is the core, but the president's called Air Force One. And if you put him on an airplane, then the airplane is called Air Force One.
One thing I'm a little disappointed about.
Maybe.
Would you ever call the president Air Force One?
One thing I'm a little disappointed about, Nick, is that I think the concept of switching fire types to fight certain enemies is fine. I mean, it's actually one you see in lots of video games with different weapons and different enemy
It's kind of like switching fighting styles in Devil May Cry 3, but like to a much less extent.
But the thing about Ikaruga is, about cool bullet patterns
bullet patterns, but also absorbing.
And it's also defensive just as much as offensive. The thing is,
you say Ikaruga, I say Outland.
No, well, it's actually like neither of those because really it's just various weapon fire. It's just weapon damage. Yeah. I actually kind of wish that like. The weapons felt different. Like I wish that the red fire was maybe like a shotgun.
Well, yeah,
and like the yellow fire was more like a shotgun. I mean, more like a rocket launcher or something.
You say that like that's kind of some weird expectations, or like that's like that's exactly what that's my exact gripe with it. That's the same gripe I had about it at PAX. I was like I like the switching of the cores and changing the colors, but like. You're literally just changing the color, and it's like, okay, this is a red enemy. I got to switch to the red bullet type to do damage to him.
It's not even like there are different elements or anything.
Well, they are different elements. The special charge attack with a given color will do a different elemental effect to the enemy.
Okay. Well, fuck me then.
So if you charge,
keep going.
Burst the red fire, it will do like set the enemy on fire. But like that's it. You know, it's those very small differences.
It is very shallow.
It seems way more shallow than it needed to be. If it just adopted kind of what we expect out of shooters, then it would have felt a lot better. I feel like, you know, like, oh, the red one's a shotgun, so I got to get a little bit closer, and it only works with these enemy types that are harder up close. Just something to add a little bit depth to the loop that already feels kind of nice. Like, I like that. What makes, I think, the combat fun is that it's more about the movement of your character, since it's lock-on aiming. Yep. You know, and you don't see a lot of games where your movement is first, you know, is the most important thing. And, you know, enemy projectiles are slow and you can see them coming, so you're kind of navigating around them while you're fighting these various enemies, and that's really cool. It's just, you know, it just seems a little shallow. And when stuff is shallow, you know, it might be fun for that first hour or two, but by hour 10, it might be just kind of frustrating.
And tedious, yeah. So we'll see. I fully intend to finish this game. I am actually enjoying it. It's got damage numbers, which I like. I love damage numbers. In fact, now that I'm watching this combat here in the footage, and I'm seeing damage numbers and the way the items look when they pop out of the enemies, I'm like, God, this looks a little bit like Borderlands.
We also didn't touch on that the more you dodge enemy fire, like if you get hit, your combo goes down. And if you keep the combo up, your damage goes up. So you start killing enemies faster and faster and faster if you're not getting hit. So dodging properly is super important to how much damage you're dishing out. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, like I said, like I think a lot of at its core.
Yes, Nick.
Have
It's
we
at its
already
core.
done that joke?
You already did the joke once.
Repetition.
Because that word's in the title.
Yes. At its core, I feel like all the mechanics here are fun and satisfying up front, and I don't know if that's going to last, but the game certainly has a lot of cool ideas. I mean, it is at a lower price point. It is $40, which I think is nice. I feel like any other publisher out there absolutely would have slept. Like, so I've paid $60 for games that were, you know, trash compared to this.
Listen,
like, you know,
man, I bet Microsoft wished they could have charged $60 for it, but I think they would have gotten a lot of shit for it because it doesn't look like a $60 game.
When does that stop? Like, I feel like this is like the bigger surprise here is that they actually cared, because that has never stopped them before. Like this, I've seen plenty of games of this quality that were sold at $60. I'm actually pretty surprised.
And there was also a time
and a physical disc, no less. I thought this would have been at $40 price point. I would have expected them to maybe just release it as like a download title, but nope, you can buy it on a disc. And
this does seem like a weird B tier game kind of thing that we don't really get anymore, and it's nice to see it exist at all.
It is nice that it exists.
And not out of Japan. You know.
That is the summary of our impressions. I am pleased that this game exists.
We haven't played enough to say more, so
yeah, we'll talk about it more at maybe by this time next week we'll have finished that. I don't think it's a very long game. I started the Turing Test. Turing Test. And
you're a robot now.
And I ended up playing a lot more of it while I was waiting for Recore to install. So at this point, I've played like a solid 4 hours of the Turing Test, which is probably more than halfway. I don't know, Brad.
Isn't that the whole point? Are you not?
Well, okay. Let's talk about the Turing Test for a second. This game is very much akin. It's wearing its influence on its sleeve. It's very much following in the same footsteps as Portal, or in my case, I think it has a lot more in common with the Talos principle.
Those are both great games you just mentioned.
Fantastic puzzle games.
Well, this looks like Portal.
Yes.
With a gun.
It looks a little like Portal. Its narrative structure feels a little more Talos principle. It's kind of this weird amalgamation of those two games. But
kind of antechamber.
It's the conceit of the game is
Cube.
You wake up, you're in the space station. You wake up, you're woken up early from this.
You're fucking woke, motherfucker.
What's the word I'm looking for? Where you're cryo.
You're sleeping.
You're woken up.
You had a nap.
You had a long nap. You were woken up because there's some kind of
hibernation
emergency.
The robots have gone crazy.
There is an AI.
The robots aren't going crazy.
There is an AI.
That's a problem.
Like Portal. There's like a GLaDOS type character that sounds like a character like the God figure that talks to you in the Talos principle. Like I said, it's weird. It's kind of it's literally kind of combining these two games, like certain elements of these two games. But he proceeds to send you through these tests right? And you're trying to figure out what happened to the rest of your crew, and it starts to become like you start to realize, okay, maybe your crew realized there was something fucked up with that AI, and they locked themselves behind these puzzles to like get away from the AI, and he's like using you, I guess, as to kind of get through these puzzles. But you're just trying to find out what happened to your crew.
Are you fucking spoiling this hard?
No, I mean that's kind of that kind of becomes obvious within the first 20 minutes of the game. Like that's kind of the setup.
You just spoiled the first 20 minutes
Yes,
of the
whatever.
game.
Point is, you use this gun to pull
This
these.
looks complicated.
I mean, this
Dude.
Okay, I will tell you this. I started this game. I blew through the first like 15 puzzles, and then all of a sudden I hit a wall. And all of a sudden, like the puzzles became like mindfucky.
Do you remember the E3 demo?
Yes, I watched you play the E3 demo, which is actually what made me want to play this.
Was that demo the beginning of the game? Because I seem to remember that demo starting on like the surface of a world, and then you go inside a facility, and then they start giving you tests that are really easy.
That's the beginning, yes.
And then by the time you get to the end of the demo, it's like
they start to get a little more challenging.
Like I got a pretzel in my head,
so
I twist it up.
So obviously, if for anyone who is unaware, the Turing Test is it's a reference to an actual test that exists that is supposed to be unsolvable by machines. So they're created to require human intervention or human creative thinking to solve, which is why this robot AI is getting you to solve them.
They sit a machine down at a table, and they've got that little briefcase that points a camera at its eye, and then they ask them really weird, obtuse questions and measure eye movement to see if they're really a replicant.
It's Blade Runner, Nick.
Yeah.
Have you never seen Blade Runner?
I have. It's just been a long time.
You should go watch Blade Runner again. That's a good movie.
Aren't they making a sequel? Anyways.
Yes.
Who fucking knows?
I bet that'll be great.
They are.
Anyways,
It's starring Harrison Ford.
Point is, this game it's this weird progression because it starts out super easy, and then at least I hit a wall where suddenly I feel like from one room to the next I was like, holy shit, this just got hard. And you basically use this gun to pull these colored, like they set up these different things you can use. Like you use the gun to pull these colored orbs out, and obviously then you have to shoot the orbs into different fixtures in the wall that provide power to things that, elevators or doors or windows, whatever. You can also pull these fixtures out of the wall that have like batteries in them, and you can plug them into the wall. So they kind of set up all these very basic things. And then for the first like 5 or 10 puzzles, you're kind of using those things exclusively to solve the puzzle. So it's kind of like, okay, take this battery out, put it in here, take this orb out, throw it up there to provide power to it, and slide through the door and then pull it. Like that, like simple stuff like that. And then they start to get harder, and then I realized the reason they're getting harder is because they start to inject more stuff into it that really does require human ingenuity. Like an AI wouldn't think to do these kinds of things. No, like I'm serious. Like.
No, they should have one of the tests should just be like a
captcha.
captcha.
No, I am not a robot.
It's just like what number do you see in the picture?
I think it's a fucking 8. I don't know.
No, you laugh, but
the captcha test.
It's the first. I got to a room. I was like, I can't fucking solve this. What the fuck am I missing? Because it totally ingrains this idea of like solving all these puzzles using orbs and batteries and things like that. And then all of a sudden, I was in a room. I couldn't figure out how to solve the fucking puzzle. And then it was like, oh, okay. So they have these bridges you can move, right? You have a switch, and you can move the bridge along this field. But there's a door, and the battery is on the side of the door. But if you take the battery out, the door closes. But you need to get to the other side of the door. But you can move the bridge, and if you move the bridge to the point where
slow down, I don't.
You put the wolf back in the book.
No, just listen for a second.
And then
it's a big open space to the left of the door. It's but you can't go around it because there's a big hole.
Paint me
but you can move the bridge. I moved the bridge to the point where it lines it where it's like straddling both the door, so you can kind of. And I stepped onto the bridge and then just bypassed the fucking door, which I didn't even like. They never really tell you to do those kinds of things. They never really tell you to do those kinds of things. I got to a point where I had to stack 2 batteries on top of each other to block a laser. I was just like, I wonder if I can just stack these things and just.
That actually reminds me of some of the stuff you can do in what's the
Talos Principle?
No, the first-person puzzle game from a couple months
Portal.
ago.
A couple months ago.
Quadrilateral Cowboy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Where a door was closing and I just fucking
Blocked it.
put something in the middle.
But it really does.
Program.
It really does. It's this really weird. Like, maybe the progression in the puzzle wasn't it's super smooth or smooth as it could have been because they really don't ease you into it. You solve the first chunk of puzzles just purely from a mechanical standpoint using batteries, orbs, energy, things like that. And then it's like, okay, maybe I can stack this over here, or maybe I can, jump on this bridge and bypass this door. And it's just, you start having to think more and more outside the box to solve the puzzles.
I'd say
and that is kind of where it gets its name, which I think is actually really creative and unique. And the one thing about this game that I'm not a huge fan of, the fucking loading in this game is jarring as hell.
Ooh.
Not that it's super long, but you'll be walking through a room and suddenly it's like time to load, and it just cuts to like a super fast cut to a loading screen.
Didn't we see that earlier in the video where the screen just kind of went bluish and
that is one form.
The source engine?
There are more jarring than situations than that, because it'll literally just cut to a completely different screen with a classic video game loading bar going across the screen.
Is it a source engine game?
I don't.
That was a source engine problem.
I couldn't tell you.
Fucking Half-Life 2, you just be walking and all of a sudden loading bar.
Yeah.
But
I'd say this isn't so much Portal or Talos Principle. I'd say more Quantum Conundrum.
Maybe as that. I haven't played that game, but
good.
Yeah. I mean, I played a demo for it, but it is definitely a little bit. It's. I think it draws influence from a lot of these games that we're mentioning because it's very similar. I kind of like what they're doing with the story. I'm invested. I'm interested. It might end up being totally cliche. Who the fuck knows? But it's cool. I recommend it. I know, Krispy, you weren't super hyped on it after playing it at E3.
I thought it was cool. It's just the demo didn't really I just didn't know.
You just weren't smart.
Yeah, I was just really dumb and I couldn't figure any of it. No. The demo was early alpha. I clipped through the floor at one point and fell infinitely.
I will say this: it seems pretty polished so far. I haven't had any bugs really or anything like that while playing it. And I've played a good 4 hours of it or so.
No, actually, watching this, it seems a lot more put together than
That may have been an old build.
The genre's getting kind of popular because of success of games like Talos Principle and Portal, and I feel there are some indie devs out there who are I'm gonna make a first person environmental puzzle game, and then they do it and it's a 2-hour game and the puzzles aren't really that inventive, and the beginning of this game kind of gives me that impression.
Yeah,
but it looks like it's gotten a lot more.
I will tell you this: if you've seen footage of it, or if you played it at E3 or whatnot, and you see these very basic puzzles where you're just pulling orbs out of a wall and then reassigning them to different orbs, and it's very much not just that.
And the other thing too is I'm super fucking into sci-fi stories about AI and shit like that. That was the whole reason I wanted to even keep going with Soma. But
did you finish that game, by the way?
Oh, actually, no, I didn't.
I feel like,
but there was none of that in the demo whatsoever. So I didn't even know there was a story in the game. Really.
Crispy,
there's
I
definitely
bet
a
you
story.
would like Abduction.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the new
Myst.
I really want to play that, but
they had it at PAX. I really wanted to
Recore.
check it out, but that booth was fucking ridiculous. Everybody wanted to get their hands on it.
I played it a little bit at PAX.
Does it get to the point in the game where it starts trying to kill you at all?
I couldn't tell you.
First of all, that would be a spoiler.
I couldn't tell you. I will say this: the story so far seems I am invested. I don't know if it's going to pan out or if it's ultimately going to end up being something that is going to be story of the year material or anything like that. But
get your blue orb.
Once you solve a puzzle, you move through it and you walk through these blue hallways. It if you have any orbs with you, it eliminates them.
Yeah, it's the after science material emancipation grids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's the Turing Test. It's on PC and Xbox One. I'm playing it on Xbox One.
I want to try that.
And it seems pretty cool. It might be up your alley, Krispy.
I want to try it.
It might be up your alley. It's like $20.
Don't tell me what to do.
Have you played The Witness?
Why do you tell me not to tell you what to do? But this guy right here.
Don't anyone tell me what to do. I'll do it. I swear to God.
Go back into that waterfall, Crispy.
The waterfall.
All right. Chris Davis.
We should probably take a break. We're over an hour in.
Get that ice
You're right.
on.
We are over an hour. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We have a lot of news to discuss. Chris Davis is also going to talk a little bit about Attack on Titan, which is a thing. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly. Love you.
Bye.
Love you too.
Bye. Not you. I was talking to them. I am recording. Welcome back, everybody. We have one more game to talk about before we cover all that sweet, juicy news.
Sweet, fat news.
Chris Davis, you've been playing Attack on Titan.
Yes, I have.
Which I know nothing about. I mean, other than it's a really creepy-looking anime thing that I don't know much about beyond that. So, you've been playing the game, Attack on Titan.
Yes.
What you got?
It's really interesting. I brought up on the podcast last week just very briefly.
Yes.
And unfortunately didn't have any footage at the time, but now I do. And this is from Omega Force. These are the guys behind the Dynasty Warriors series, Samurai Warriors, the Mosu series. What they do is their formula. They don't deviate ever. But this feels like their first full-on deviation, and it's really interesting.
But it's like a deviation in the stupidest way.
I disagree.
It's the same game, except instead of killing a million dudes, you're killing one big dude at a time.
So this is
that's their deviation.
That is the deviation.
Yeah.
So this game is basically the basic map structure of a Mosu game, combined with
Giant naked men.
one of the best fishing games you've ever played, and just a sprinkling of Zone of the Enders in there.
Okay.
of the Enders.
Slow the fuck down, Chris Davis.
Just because
fishing game is okay. All right.
It's really, once you think about it. So the combat in this game, it's like Spider-Man 2 in the way you move around the map.
It's so weird because you're like zipping around the city like Spider-Man, but it's like not New York. It's not skyscrapers. So you're zipping along even though all the buildings are beneath you.
They have
they
have.
why are you fucking Spawn? What is going on with these chains? Where are they coming from?
I'm gonna be honest.
Part of the
that's
game.
From the anime. They
All
wear
this
these
shit's from the
They
anime.
wear
It's
these
called
things.
omnidirectional gear.
Yeah.
The idea is that it allows them to move into three-dimensional space.
The idea
any way
is
they
that
please.
it makes an anime look really cool.
Yeah,
It makes
basically
absolutely no sense.
Like most animes.
Right.
So you launch these anchors that grab onto the environment or the Titans,
pull.
and then it pulls you in and thrusts you
And then you
into
have
the
these
air.
gas canisters that make
Yeah.
you like fly.
So
Yeah.
so someone.
but if you run out of gas, then you're fucking dead.
so someone
Because I
may have
watched the show.
Until you get to more gas.
So somebody may have explained this to me before about the anime because I don't watch the anime.
So
Why
the
are you
idea-
attacking giant naked people?
Because they're
So-
trying to eat people.
So there's
they eat people.
they're just like this race of monsters that try to eat people. That's
Yeah.
all they do.
The story goes that 100 years ago, humanity was nearly wiped out by these Titans, which are basically these anywhere from 3 meter to like 20 meter tall naked humanoid things without sexual organs, no sense of intelligence to them, and they just eat people. That's all they do.
This is probably getting straight up in
So-
the anime.
and so
but is it like some sort of like weird like vision of humanity that created these things, or like
That's
what?
a spoiler.
That
We don't know where the Titans came from.
we don't know. And
Wait, you
the
still don't
season
know?
season 2 of the show is supposed to premiere
For
this year.
fuck's sake.
think,
I was
either
considering
earlier this
watching
year.
this anime, but if I don't know that,
They do address some aspects of
I
it.
kind of went through that myself too.
Yeah.
This show is. I like Attack on Titan. I'm going through the anime. Actually, I played the demo at E3 and was like, "This is kind of cool." And my roommate has a huge hard on for this, so I was like, "Let's watch Attack on Titan."
Got a huge hard on for these giant
And
naked penisless men.
yeah. Well, there's one female Titan too.
There actually is a
might
female Titan,
that might
yeah.
be a spoiler.
is she fucking hot?
Yeah, she's kind of hot, but she has no skin.
So if you can get past that.
If you
You're
get
good.
past the no skin part.
Yeah, you know,
Holy
we all have
shit.
our,
Have an aerial.
we all have our thing.
Not
But
So the idea of the
She's
story.
got no skin, but she does
but
have
the
aerial.
show
What's the
is
fucking
like
point?
the show's cool, but like it's a fucking slog, man. It's like 6 episodes of everyone
Yelling?
just being really bummed out
Well,
and like
the real problem is that the manga
getting
isn't
eaten.
written nearly as fast as the anime needs, so there's a lot of like downtime and
So
almost filler.
they're
in a
just
way.
buying time for waiting for the manga to get written.
I mean, it went on hiatus for a little while, I think, and they didn't start writing it again until like a year and a half ago.
All right, let's
something
focus on
like
the game. Let's focus on the
that.
game.
So anyway, the story goes
it
that
does look very Spider-Man 2.
humanity is nearly wiped out by these titans, and so all of humanity hid behind this set of like 3 giant walls. And at the beginning of this series, for the first time in 100 years, they're attacked again by Titans, and they breach the first wall. And so humanity has to retreat within the walls.
And they make themselves into spider people.
And
no, they were already doing that. But they sucked at it.
Yeah, they weren't good because they didn't have any Titans to practice on. Really.
Yeah, they basically it was just how like everyone's been living inside this city waiting to die.
That guy's got a little head.
And humanity hasn't those like all the Titans look fucking weird.
Yeah, they're
Dude, I will give it this.
Humanity
The
hasn't,
designs for the Titans are creepy as shit.
So the
People would like
idea
anime if the Titans weren't creepy.
There's a part in the show where they're like, oh no, there's an aberrant Titan, and then you see this little like midget with a giant head run around the corner, and he like smashes into a bunch of buildings and is like running like this, but like while it's funny, he's like stomping on people and like murdering hundreds of people. Like,
yeah,
it's a fucked up show.
It's very violent.
It's really fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of anime is really fucked.
No, this is
that way.
Quite violent.
If the Titans weren't this fucking weird, do you think people would like that anime?
I think that's part of its appeal.
Dude, you know what would be cool is if they were giant robots.
No.
So the idea behind a Titan is that they're these tall dudes that are walking around trying to eat people, right? Well, the way they work in the anime and in the game is that their limbs will regenerate eventually.
Yes.
But there's a spot at the nape of their neck in which they can be killed if you can cut into it.
It's on every single one of them?
On every single one of them.
That's the only way you can kill a Titan. Is by
Why don't you just immediately go for the neck?
That's kind of what they like tell you to do.
I mean, that's what they do in the show.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily want to do that immediately when you're playing this game.
Why not?
So
you got to whittle their health down, right?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Look at all those points you're getting.
Later on, yeah, the Titans get tougher and they'll have larger health bars. It'll take more than just one swipe to get them.
Do you ever not do exactly what you've been doing for the past 10 minutes in this game?
No. Well, yeah, I've been running around and I've been doing side quests.
Oh, okay. There's side quests in this game?
Yeah, they have you go in and just protect people or escort people.
But
it's kind of like a Mosu game where you see your map and you'll see like a little blink and it's like, oh no, someone's about to get eaten by a Titan, so you go over there and kill that Titan.
Because it's
and then you get
game.
Another blink that's like, okay, regroup with your squad over here so they can go attack these Titans. And then
but the entirety of the game is just like a constant ongoing battle.
It's a struggle for the survival of humanity, Nicholas. Yes, that's what it is.
Just across these different maps.
All right, I was just checking.
So
fair enough.
The way the game is structured, where when you attack a Titan, first off, you don't necessarily want to go straight for the nape. You want to go because it's the nape of the neck.
That's what you really should.
There are several reasons.
That's how you seal the deal.
It seems like
tougher Titans will tend to focus their attention on you, and so when you anchor into them and they're paying attention to you, they'll turn around, and you can only really get the nape of their neck by attacking from behind. So what you can do is you can attack their limbs, which will stagger them, maybe cause them to fall, and then you can use the opportunity to zip around them and go in for the kill. Also on the Titans, you'll see on the limbs specifically some gold icons on them.
Yeah.
And if you attack and are able to destroy those limbs, you get resources and points you can put towards upgrading your equipment and buying stuff. There's a little bit of a customization system in there. Not necessarily like
crafting. Was anything like that ever featured in the other the Dynasty Warriors games? Forgive me, I've never played a Dynasty Warriors game beyond more than like an hour.
Yeah, no. Once you played one Dynasty Warriors game, you played them all.
Okay.
You played every single one.
Yeah, but
that was my sneaking suspicion.
There is something to be said for like the fact that in Dynasty Warriors, like some of the later games, you can literally pick from like 100 characters and they all have different weapons and they all have different attacks and they're all completely different. And in this game, you're all...
Well, no, that's not true because in this game, you have, I believe, 15 different characters you can play as.
What
Each one levels up differently.
You're on a fucking horse?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Why?
Because they go outside.
You're Spider-Man.
I'll explain in a second.
They go out.
But they have there's 15 different characters. I'm playing as Mikasa. She's one of the main characters of the show. And
Mikasa?
she has some special abilities to where once she strikes a limb, if you quickly press the attack button again, she can do a second strike. So that can be very powerful when you're going up against some of the higher level titans.
Why is making your horse go that fast?
No, the horse is amazing. It's fantastic.
Why is it so fast?
Because that's one of the higher end horses, and it sprints.
That's what a higher end horse looks like.
That's a new.
Oh,
model
wait until later. When you see
That is a
what it's
well-bred
really
horse.
capable of. Yeah, no, the horse is amazing.
The horse has jump jets.
Yeah,
Not exactly.
The horse is also wearing an omnidirectional.
but no. So when you're in environments,
amazing.
when you're in environments in which that they don't have buildings or things that are larger than you around you, you can't necessarily use the omnidirectional movement system. So they substitute that with the horse, and they use the horse to move around the environment. And then when you get close to buildings or titans, that's when you can latch on and use it.
It's funny because Spider-Man, it's the older Spider-Man games didn't give a shit if you were near you were just like shooting into the sky.
Well, no, that's not true, because in
older
Spider-Man
ones.
2,
Not
they
2.
introduced the idea that your swings, your web is actually going to interact with an object in the environment.
I was actually
Right, that's-
more
He's talking about the
okay.
PS1 games,
I was talking
I
about the
think.
original Spider-Man game. No,
You saying that isn't true, and then
PS1.
saying that is proving his point, because all the games before Spider-Man 2 were exactly like
I
Nick
thought he
said.
was talking about the games after
Where
Spider-Man 2.
like the linear ones before there was even the open world Spider-Man games like Enter Electro or whatever. You literally there was no ceiling to the level. It was just like
There was
darkness,
helicopters
and
up
so you
there.
could like see that he's swinging
a lot
on
of
stuff.
helicopters, bro.
that first Spider-Man game was really good.
Except for I don't know if I'd go that far.
Spider-Man 2.
So
Spider-Man 2 is where it's at, or Ultimate Spider-Man.
Ultimate Spider-Man was
Yeah.
fucking sick.
well, anyway, it's really a Spider-Man game. But the way the combat works is that it's a little bit like a fishing game combined with Zone of the
Okay,
Enders.
explain the
now,
fishing
okay,
thing.
so when you anchor into a Titan, you're focused. Your targeting reticle is on a certain limb. You use the right stick to focus on different limbs, and you then have to attach the anchor again to that target. Otherwise, you're still reeling in on that limb. Now, you're moving around in a 3D space a lot like locking onto a target in Zone of the Enders. The fishing game aspect comes in to where you're moving around in this environment, and the Titan is kind of fighting against you like a fish in a fishing game. And once you've gotten yourself into a
Oh my god.
yeah,
Oh my lord,
there's jank. There is jank.
that just looks creepy. I wasn't even gonna call that jank. I was gonna
I mean,
call that like
you
a
can't
really,
even go fly over there.
That's
with just one
that's
hand.
jank right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Hit
jank.
that wall.
I know.
Or just terrible driving. Okay.
But you reel in by releasing the left stick,
Yeah.
and so you automatically reel in like in a fishing game towards your target, and that's when you attack at the right moment. You'll see a prompt. You'll get this visual aid prompt to where it's kind of like breaking the sound barrier in a way, where it gets that air pump.
Yeah.
Okay, once you do that, that's when you got like the maximum strength, like
There,
right
I
there.
saw it, yeah.
That's when you had the maximum strength to hit a Titan and get the maximum damage.
So I will say this: it looks like the feedback is pretty good.
The feedback is really
And it
good.
looks
once
fast-paced.
once you get the hang of this, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I just
Holy shit, that was creepy. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, there's a variety of Titans. You got the small ones, then you got the abnormals, the ones that will tend to focus on you. Some
got
that
the-
you can actually.
the booby titans
Yeah,
or
there's
booby titan.
there's
Just the one.
there's quite a few of them.
This definitely looks like a game I want to play for an hour.
Yeah, I think it would be a really fun hour, and then you'd probably just never pick it up again.
The thing about the game is that once you've experienced like the first couple levels and you know how to fight a Titan, you've pretty much experienced most of the combat in the game.
Dynasty Warriors, if you will.
Yeah, it's Dynasty Wars. Most of it. It's what they do.
Well, I mean, if I know you like this game, right, Chris Davis?
This is the first Omega Force game I've liked since Dynasty Warriors.
I mean,
3.
When you're pitching this to people, maybe don't lead with Zone of the Enders meets fishing. Maybe say like
But that's exactly-
Spider-Man meets Shadow of the Colossus or something.
Dude, that does
That Yeah.
Like,
I can see where you're drawing the comparison between Zone of the Enders and fishing, but if
no
you were
one
to,
knows
if you,
what
I
the
am-
hell you're talking about.
I am much more interested in what that game would be though. Like a game where you use giant mechs to go fishing. Like that. Now I want to play that game.
well, there's a game coming where you play as Max and you play golf. So
Yeah,
that may just be the next logical
but
step.
that's not the same thing. Anyways,
No.
I will say this: if I was to actually play how do you say their name?
Mosu.
If I was to play a Mosu game, I'd probably play this way before I play Dynasty Warriors. Maybe that's because I just like creepy monsters.
Yeah,
and
there's
Spider-Man.
I'll
honestly, take what I can get.
The only thing that you wouldn't like about this game is just how repetitive it can be. Because you go into map, you attack Titans, and you keep playing until the final target appears, or you go to the marker with the final target, and then you kill that, and the level's over.
And then you just rinse and repeat.
Pretty much what you do. The story, it takes you through a bunch of different environments, but it basically comes down to city environment, out in the fields environment, or in gigantic woods.
Gotcha.
And the only time in which the game will really, really frustrate you
Obama.
The fuck was
is
that?
later on when you actually have to focus on a story-related Titan.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking pain in the ass.
Stop using the fucking horse, man.
You have to.
You're Spider-Man. You don't need the horse.
When you're in the city, yeah,
Brad,
you can do it. You
but
can't
Brad,
do it when you're out in the fields.
That's a well-bred horse.
so well. What are they doing?
All right, we need to move on.
There's a bunch more I could say about it, but it's
I don't
surprisingly
believe
good
you.
game. It might actually
I
end up
don't
on my
believe
top
you.
10.
I will also
said-
cease to believe you on that. But
I've described 80 to 90% of what the game is, but there's a few more tricks and things to it that make it interesting.
If while you're riding the horse around and like you do your little fucking omnidirectional thing, when you fly through the air, the horse is with you, like you're still just riding the horse, just like on this omnidirectional like pulley
That's
system.
too anime.
Hey, who knows?
I mean, that would be epic.
The story's all right. The story's all right.
That is the best mental picture, Krispy. Holy shit.
The story's
Somebody
all
should
right.
mod that. Holy god.
The combat's really good. The feedback from the combat is really enjoyable.
It looks
believe you,
good.
I believe
The
you.
feedback looks
I'd
good.
like to try it.
And you know what? That maybe this looks like something that might tide people over who really, really can't wait for that new Spider-Man game, which is me right here. I really can't wait for that game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an option. I
Spider-Man.
really like it.
Yep. All right. So
Can I mention that one other game I've been playing?
wait,
real
there was
quick?
another. What?
What?
I don't
didn't
have footage
approve
for
of
it.
this.
It's a quick mention, because we had that option in the doc. I've also been playing Pac-Man Championship Edition 2.
Oh, yeah. You probably should have got footage of this.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we don't really need that much, but I can put some in the edit. So this is officially the third game in the championship series. There was DX, which was kind of an add-on / expansion thing.
No, hush.
Wasn't
That
it
was
an
a
expansion?
completely different game.
No, it plays like a completely different game. Yes,
I mean, it wasn't even. It was a
But I thought it
different
was
game that came out like 2 years later. It's
yeah,
just
but
not.
I thought it was an add-on.
No.
Oh, well, whatever.
Neither
But-
here nor there.
It has the name of something that would be an add-on, but it
Pac-Man.
definitely wasn't an add-on.
Championship Edition.
So
Quick mention.
it's it's really good. The idea is that you're Pac-Man. You're going through this traditional old style mazes, but they add in this first off really good soundtrack, and this maze structure that encourages you to just find an optimal path to collect power pellets and then collect fruit. Obviously,
Wait, that sounds like Pac-Man.
that is Pac-Man. But they change a few rules. Number one, there's now changes to the environment where there's like jump pads that will send you across the map in different ways.
Okay.
Also, when you hit a ghost, it's not a game over technically anymore, because ghosts will chase you. But when they hit you or when you hit them, it won't kill you. It'll actually just bump into them. And if you bump into them in rapid succession, like 2 or 3 times, they become pissed off, and for a second they charge up, and then they just fucking charge right after you. And that's when they can kill you.
So why would you just not do that?
Because you pretty much have to bump into them, because based on how fast it gets later on when you're 2 to 3 minutes into a map, it's impossible not to hit them. You're eventually
You're moving
going
so
to have
fast.
to.
So, is this a multiplayer? I mean, this is a multiplayer game, right?
No, single player.
No, single
It's
player.
not.
No.
Oh, well, then never mind.
Maybe you're thinking of Pac-Man 256, which
Yeah.
came out fairly recently.
Which is really good.
Yeah,
that's pretty
maybe
good
that's
too.
the one I remember hearing was really, really good.
But the game's
well,
pretty. I really like it. It does have some good feedback to it, because when you actually eat a ghost chain, the first couple, just he streams through them and just eats them. But when you hit the fourth chain, if you can finish that off, it just gives this feedback effect where he's fucking flying through the air and just eating this chain. It's just
this definitely would have been improved with footage.
Yeah, it's really. I guess at this.
Well,
point
let's talk about it. If we ever get footage, we'll talk about it maybe on a future show. I'm surprised Brad hasn't played. I thought you said you were going to play
this one. I mean, I love the first two, but this one, I've heard some.
Maybe next week if I can.
Yes, mixed things about it, and I fucking spent my money on Recore, so.
You fool! Actually, bought a video game.
You're a fool. All right.
Despite the fact that Divinity Original Sin 2 came out.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about
That'll probably, I'm guessing that'll come up in the 4-player minute. All right. We have a few news items to discuss this week.
Delay!
Let's talk about all those
delays.
All right, Brad, do you want to lead this? Because it seems like you're on the
Everything
cutting edge of all these delays.
Got delayed.
Everything.
The Last Guardian, which was coming out in about a month, is now coming out in December.
What? The only reason I'm bummed about that, honestly, is because now it's literally a week after Final Fantasy fucking 15.
You know why they got delayed? So they can patch them for PlayStation Pro. And I don't believe any other fucking reason.
That's a fair reason.
Same thing with Final Fantasy.
But that wasn't one of the games that was on that list they provided, which I thought was weird.
But it is, supposedly.
It is?
Yeah.
I mean, every game is supposed to
and
get
it will be, Nick.
A PS4 Pro patch, right? Isn't it?
I don't know. But yeah.
So it's coming out like what are we looking at? December 6th, December 7th, something like that?
Well,
it's literally
so many games are coming out December 6th. How could they possibly put it on December 6th? Oh, wait. South Park got moved off of December 6th, which I think I predicted, into 2017.
Yep.
First quarter.
South Park got delayed. We have a big delay.
Which they hadn't really been marketing that much. They had the PAX and the Gamescom presentations.
Yeah, but I mean, it had been, December for quite some time now, and
a lot of games will say they're coming out in December.
But that's I don't know why, but it seems to me like that's just that game. I was not expecting that game to get delayed, to be totally honest. But anything that's sitting in December is, I think, fair game for delays.
Any game, I mean, the original South Park, the Stick of Truth took forever to develop. So it doesn't surprise me that they delayed this too.
Well, that was because of all the THQ shit going on. Like that was a troubled.
Who's developing this, by the way?
I
don't even think they've.
It's not Obsidian.
No, it's not Obsidian. We had this question when they first announced it because we were like, "Who the fuck is making this?" And no one could really give you a clear answer.
Ubisoft,
South Park Studios.
It's Ubisoft Studio
South
number
Park Studios
2.
Maybe Reflections. I mean, they haven't been doing much.
I have a feeling it's like one of those.
They did grow up.
I have a feeling it's one of those tag team projects where it's like
they work on Watch Dogs.
They have like 6 studios working on one game.
Yeah, that's what they did with Watch Dogs.
What was the studio that did Driver San Francisco?
Reflections.
That was Reflections too.
So okay. I asked before the show, and I'm still not sure because I couldn't tell if y'all were kidding or not. So was I dreaming when I heard that Watch Dogs 2 is delayed?
No,
we can only hope.
It's not delayed.
When I ask you, was I dreaming?
You're asking that in a really obtuse way, Nick.
I'm saying,
Watch Dogs wasn't delayed.
Okay, then why does every time I say...
Yes, you were dreaming.
My direct question was I dreaming? And you said no. And you said it was not delayed. Which one is it?
Yes.
You were dreaming. You
Fuck all of you.
No, you were not dreaming. It has not been delayed.
No, your answer should be yes, you were dreaming. Yes, it has not been delayed.
No. Why do you insist on asking? Why frame it in the was I dreaming?
Because I've never seen anybody else have a hard time.
Why wouldn't you just say, did Watch Dogs get delayed?
Something else got delayed,
Why does this have to be about your fucking dreams, Nick?
I've never seen anybody have a hard time answering, was I dreaming before?
Fuck you.
Something else got delayed.
Bloodstained
got delayed.
Got delayed as fuck,
got pushed into the first half of 2018.
Fuck that.
That's a brutal delay.
It was originally, I think, early 2017.
Why do I let myself
pushed back like a year?
Anymore?
Which, maybe good news. They're hiring
a whole other development team to help finish.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's going on. I'm actually a little worried about this one. as y'all said, I had some concerns after playing the demo.
I mean, they probably really overestimated the scope of what they were making.
Well, yeah,
I'm just a little worried this is suddenly going to start.
I could be dead by 2018.
I'm worried this is going to start snowballing, and suddenly this is going to become like the development cycle of like Mighty Number 9, and suddenly that project's going to get really.
You mean the development team of Mighty Number 9?
Well, I mean the whole process of developing that was delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed, and like they started getting other people involved, and it just started becoming a clusterfuck, didn't they? Like that's how that whole project turned into a fucking garbage fire.
I mean,
you could argue that it never looked that good, but yeah.
I would argue that the main difference is that Keiji Inafune negotiated Mighty Number 9 into being a transmedia project involving a TV show and a fucking game.
They launched Kickstarters for other games in the middle of Mighty Number 9's development.
This is reason to be concerned. That's a hell of a delay too. Like fucking 2018. That's like when they announce movies and it's like coming 2018. You're like, that's forever.
But I mean, like they've already put out a demo for it. Like Mighty Number 9.
That's the weird thing. We've played a demo for it.
Yeah, just like
and it's coming out more than a year from now. It's kind of fucking.
Might just make for a huge ass castle.
Keiji Inafune. He's not a creator. He's a businessman. That's a famous Hideki Kamiya tweet. Or some shit like that.
His other most famous one
They're delaying it to 2018 to get it running better on the PlayStation 4 Pro.
Yeah, because that game needs optimization.
Also the Scorpio. They got to get ready for the Scorpio.
No, but I'm saying if it's Sony first party and they're delaying it or whatever, we know why.
What is the development team behind this game, by the way?
Bloodstain?
Yeah.
It's fucking
Not WayForward.
No, it's the fucking Mighty Number 9 people.
Oh, Concept?
No, not Concept. It's fucking in
space?
In space.
Struggle with words. What is it? Oh God, chat, help us.
Inception.
No, that's exactly close. That's what it is.
Samson.
Wait, we're worried about Bloodstain? I mean, I know this delay is kind of a thing, but like, I really
bit.
like that demo.
A little bit. It's not. Inti Creates.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Which it's not like Inti Creates is a bad developer. I mean, they've made plenty of cool games, and you know, around the same time as Mighty Number 9's development, they've been putting out the Azure Striker Gunvault games or whatever, and those are supposed to be cool. So they used to make the Mega Man Zero games and the Mega Man ZX and those games back in the day.
Never got to play those.
Okay.
So I mean, they can make decent stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about something other than delays. There's a couple trailers. TGS started today, which, if we didn't mention on the actual podcast recording, I thought it was pretty cool. This morning they name dropped us on stage. COO of Twitch was on stage today doing a keynote for Tokyo Game Show in Tokyo, and he name dropped us, which was cool. It's always a cool thing to wake up to. But no big deal.
It's pretty cool.
Just kind of a big deal.
Well, say what you will about us now, you can't take away the past.
Yeah, suck it. Anyways, but there were a couple high-profile trailers that came out from TGS, which is kind of one of the only things that TGS is good for nowadays. They usually drop some pretty big trailers for stuff that we don't really get a lot of.
Someone post a link in chat because they don't believe us.
They get like a lot of stuff that we don't necessarily see very often, like E3 and PAX and whatnot. Gets more information. Obviously these are all Eastern developed games. So we have a new trailer for Resident Evil 7. We have a new trailer for Final Fantasy 15. I don't know which one we're going to talk about first.
We're talking about this one.
Resident Evil 7 is further. There's more details. Not only did we get a new trailer for Resident Evil 7, they also specifically they updated the Resident Evil 7 demo that's available in the PlayStation Store, and you no longer need PlayStation Plus to access it now. So anyone can go onto the store and download it and play it, and it's a more fleshed out demo, which I have not played yet. I have not played yet. Have not had a chance, but you can guarantee it. I will play it before next week's podcast. Everyone here watched the trailer?
I watched it.
No, I ain't into that nerd shit.
I did.
So they do a little, setting the tone they do that whole dinner sequence where your character is sitting at the table with this fucking fucked up family. I'm still
the Bakers.
The Bakers, yes, which I guess are going to play a prominent role in the game. I think it kind of confirmed, the long-standing. I don't even want to call it a rumor, but your main character is looking for his wife, and you comes across this plantation, and you're spending all this time in this house. Also, you get to see more of what the game has to offer in first-person mode, because yes, this entire game does take place in first person. There, he cocked a gun.
Indicative of combat.
He shoots at this zombie here in a second, and doesn't exactly have the feedback I've come to expect out of a Resident Evil game, but
also might be the fact that they're.
And I would like to say this game's early, but
that enemy may also be invincible in that moment.
That also
so
might be a cutscene. I don't fucking know. You're right. It does lack feedback. But at the same time, like Resident Evil from the very beginning has always had good feedback. Well, except maybe not early on. But as the games progress, like feedback is not something that I think these games struggled with. So, and usually, obviously, even if you think back to like maybe the games just leading up to Resident Evil 4, like the first few times you shoot a zombie, like the first 2 shots didn't really do much. They didn't really give you a whole lot of feedback. But after when you started to do more damage to them, that's when they started to flail and like limbs started to fly and things like that. So I'm hoping that was maybe more of just we didn't get to see him pop enough shots into that zombie to have him really show the feedback that we all want. But it does confirm, yes, there's combat, there's going to be weapons in the game, which we knew was coming. But Brad, how do you feel about the trailer? I know you.
Why are you asking me?
Because you've been
pretty vocal about this.
You've been pretty vocal about your.
It looks like fucking. I mean, I'm hoping something that's a little more condemned than Amnesia.
You're hoping for something a little more condemned than Amnesia. So you want something more combat focused, obviously.
Well, I mean, just
you want less hide and seek gameplay,
for sure.
I don't think it's going to be very hide and seek.
I mean,
I think a lot of people are drawing comparisons to Outlast. I don't know if those are entirely wrong.
I mean, yeah.
I think a lot of people are drawing the conclusion because it's very dark and it's in first person.
It's also kind of like the material a little bit. You're dealing with like fucking hillbilly. Like I think
the pacing in this game is going to be way better because I think it's going back to like classic like Resident Evil 1 where like enemies are like kind of few and far between. Like I don't think this is going to be a situation where every room you go into is going to be just fucking zombies everywhere. And I think we're really going back in time as far as the series go in terms of how the enemies are presented to you. Because like Resident Evil 1, you could go through like 3 or 4 rooms at a time without ever seeing an enemy, and then boom, all of a sudden like, oh, there's a fucking zombie. Like I feel like that's kind of what we're going back to here, which is what I'm personally hoping for because that's. To me, that's like kind of the golden days of Resident Evil.
I don't know what to get out of this trailer because, to be honest, a lot of this stuff seems very scripted.
Yeah,
like a lot of these seems scripted moments.
This whole thing does seem like kind of a story trailer. I mean, everything.
But I'm saying the actual gameplay moments or whatever we're looking at seem like parts like that you're not necessarily in control of too much.
I mean, honestly, the highlight for me for the trailer was the whole Bakers thing, the Bakers family, because I want to know what the fuck is going on. Like, what are these things? Like, what?
I just like how pissed off the woman gets
that you didn't eat her fucking disgusting meal.
That was weird.
Not to mention that the father nearly cuts off the damn.
Well,
sons.
clearly,
it's like that one.
Clearly, they're not
the
human.
X-Files that they only ever aired once.
Also, the most fucked up episode of the X-Files.
Home.
Wait, what did that involve?
There was like
hillbilly,
these fucking hillbillies
cannibal family
were incestuous, and like they like their mother was like she had like no arms and legs, and they just like kept her on like this little thing under the bed.
Very disturbing.
And they like fucked her.
They like
what the fuck?
Yeah, it was a really fucked up episode of the X-Files.
And they like killed like black people or something. It was really fucked up.
It was rough.
I was almost going to suggest like The Hills Have Eyes. But.
Yeah, sure. But I like the X-Files. Fuck you. It's I don't know. I mean, like that style of horror, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Hills Have Eyes, whatever. It's not the stuff. I'm like a Ring Ghost kind of person. As far as like really fucking freaking me out. So I'm hoping that there is still like a little J horror in there, but
In Resident Evil?
yeah, I know it's always been like Western inspired.
I say there's really never been J horror and
No, I know, but I'm just saying like
Ghost.
If we're gonna have a game that's like
They
really
tried to do it.
trying to scare me, like I'm more. There's the trailer with like the creepy woman or whatever following you around.
I'll tell you this:
that one seems creepier
creepy,
than
decrepit
Hillbilly
old
Family.
ladies in places where they shouldn't be. That shit scares the shit out of me. I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of that in this game. I mean, once again, this trailer just kind of reaffirmed why I'm excited for this project, because none of this strikes me as Resident Evil. Everything here seems refreshing to me as far as a Resident Evil game goes. It's totally different. It seems now they're still like.
But I mean,
they did say
they could have showed a trailer for Outlast and called it Resident Evil 7, and you'd be like, I'm so glad that this seems different and
You
refreshing.
mean if Outlast never existed and they said that was just Resident Evil?
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, my point has always been, after Resident Evil 6, I feel like this series needed a complete reboot, complete change of pace, and I feel like this is at least looking like it might be that, so that's why I'm excited. They still insist, like they even said it, they reiterated today that characters from classic Resident Evil games will appear in this
Which
game.
is strange.
Which I'm like, what the fuck?
I mean, especially because my like frustrations are that like you're calling it a reboot, but like a reboot is more like, DMC, where it's like everything is like so different, but like it still very much looks like they're trying to make Devil May
I
Cry.
feel like that
this doesn't even seem like it's in the same genre of horror or the same like genre of game. It seems really like I'm saying, if you saw this trailer and no one told you it was Resident Evil, you would not be surprised.
You would be surprised.
Or no, I'm saying like this. Like everything we've seen does not appear to be even remotely Resident Evil, which is fine. But that makes it weird, as it like they're still calling it Resident Evil 7. This is where you just call it Resident Evil.
Yes, that from the beginning, that has been my argument, where it's like, I want to be really excited because it looks like a reboot, but the fact that they're still clinging to that universe that I have grown to hate over the years.
And it's supposed to be a sequel to 6.
It's a sequel to 6. There are characters from the classic series returning, even though nothing about this screams Resident Evil to me. This seems to me like it would be a complete from the ground up reboot, like a completely different direction for the series, yet they're still clinging to that universe that I have just grown to hate over the years.
I mean, I understand that, but there's so little we still know about this game.
Well, don't get me wrong, I'm still super excited because, maybe they can make me love that universe again. I don't fucking know. I was on board with this universe for pretty much Resident Evil 1 through 3. After 3, it started to get a little fucking weird, and it was just kind of a roller coaster ride down a hill.
I still want to know who the fuck is developing this game.
Yeah, that's a good question too.
Because the fact that they're not talking about it
It's an internal team.
Weird.
They said they were starting
I'm not
working on
doubting that part of them,
But
that they're not working with internal people.
But they have named specific people.
Metroid Prime was also part internal team.
They have named specific people who were involved with the Resident Evil franchise.
Again, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that.
But I mean, like if you
but like how many projects have you
developed-
seen? Like, oh, this person's working on this game. This person's working on this game. Actually, Platinum Games is doing all the work.
But who developed Resident Evil 4? Capcom.
No, I know, but like that was a team led by Shinji Mikami.
I know, but they have named people I can't remember the name off the top of my head, so I apologize. I don't have it in front of me, but like they have named the person who is leading this project. It is out there. I read an interview with him. It is very much out there in the public. If someone in
The
chat
only
could
reason
post that,
I question is because this doesn't look like anything Capcom has ever done.
sure. But
It looks like Western.
That is
developed.
reason to be concerned and kind of excited at the same time, I think. Anyways, we've let this trailer roll like 4 times. Let's go ahead.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and move on. Did everybody here watch the Final Fantasy 15 trailer?
No,
Really?
no.
Well, we can't really talk about it then, can we? Am I the only one who watched it?
You don't have it here?
Yeah, we do, but it's 4.5 minutes long and it's a giant cutscene.
Just roll it. It's a cutscene.
Yeah, it's a story heavy trailer.
And
if nobody here has watched it, I'm not going to talk about it.
is it cool?
Wait.
Yeah, it's cool, but it's like it's all in Japanese. You have to read all the subtitles. It's very much setting up the story.
This is
I'm
Final
gonna
Fantasy
watch
15.
it.
Final Fantasy 15. The one,
I thought King's
the one with the car, right?
Yes, the one with the car
And the boy band.
and the boy band.
And the boy
I thought Kingsglaive sets up the story.
Yes, but Yes, Brad, but no, I want to
But it
see
needs more setup.
Kingslave's out. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
We should fucking
I'm not
watch
getting
that.
paid to go see it because I'm getting the collector's edition. It's coming with
Is
the
it-
game. I'll
is
just
it
wait
in
until I have it.
theaters?
No, we should still watch it. I mean, you get that thing, but I'm saying we should watch it like now and do a popcorn
should-
cast.
What are you getting Final Fantasy 15 on?
What do you think?
I bet
PS4.
PS4.
PS4 Pro.
I was just
bitch.
gonna say you get it on Xbone.
There is a PS4 version of the game that plays on both
There's a
platforms.
I was gonna suggest
That's true. I guess.
you could get it on Xbone, and while it's installing, you could watch all of Kingsglaive, take a nap, go to dinner, and then by the time you're done, it'll be installed.
But you are getting it on your PS4 Pro.
I am getting it on my PS4. God damn it, Brad! I'm getting it on PS4. I will
Pro.
be playing it on a PS4 Pro. Okay, Brad? Okay.
I was just saying.
I really
They delayed
can't,
it for a reason.
Stubborn piece of shit.
really can't help but think like how fucking cool these guys look.
Okay.
Like Adam Jensen.
Okay, here's the
Sincere?
thing. Here's the thing about this trailer. Since
Why
you're
is it
watching,
not
okay, since you're watching this for the first time here, you're not hearing any audio. You don't know what the fuck is going on, and we're talking over it. Like this really is not the ideal place to watch it. Because I'll be honest, I watched this trailer and I'm actually really interested in what's going to happen in this game, like
wish
story
this
wise.
is how we
fucking
watched
hyped as
all
shit
trailers.
too. Like I just haven't watched it because
Reasons.
I'm not really
I don't
because
wanna-
reasons.
I don't want to say the T word, but you know, the TT word.
Titties.
But if I say it out loud, I might actually have to do it.
T-word.
I'm thinking of doing a trailer talk for a video game show.
Well,
See,
yeah.
now it has to happen.
Now it has to
I
happen.
don't have the fucking time to
Big
do it.
ass
Thanks.
trailer
Thanks. I was waiting for trailer talk. Thanks, Nick.
All right.
It's an excuse to not do wedding stuff.
There you go. Boom. Everyone in chat's like, titties? What's everyone just assumes titties.
Big ass trailer talk.
I mean, it's a pretty lengthy trailer. I will say this.
We should watch Kingsley.
It's a very.
Do not wait till November. It's out now.
Yeah, okay.
But it's only available in like select theaters. Is it even still in theaters?
You can just download it,
I'm sure. Oh,
right? You can just download it.
I thought you could even buy it
yeah.
on
I think
Blu-ray.
that's illegal, but yeah, totally.
No, I'm saying you can like purchase the download.
I got.
I'm saying
How does that work?
Well,
You
let's-
give money and they give you something that isn't like a real thing?
Let's move on. We don't have to talk about it. I will say this. I watched it not really knowing much about what they were going to be doing in this game from a storytelling perspective. And this kind of got me excited. So I recommend going to watch it.
I will watch this tonight.
Well, you know, the funny thing is that character, that old guy, that old man they're talking to, looks awfully a lot like as far as his dress looks on, like the way the color of his clothes and everything looks like the Sid character we've seen, the lady, the sexy, like, you know what I'm talking about, the sexy Sid lady.
Maybe he's Sid Senior.
And I'm wondering if maybe there was like focus groups that didn't go over very well and they replaced his character with this like old guy but left him with the same clothes, because that's kind of what it.
Oh,
Because she's nowhere in the trailer.
Didn't they completely take out a female character?
What, the new Sid?
Oh.
well,
I remember
Well, I
something
mean,
like
that's
that.
they-
from early development.
Like I think there was originally a female character in the group,
Okay.
like ongoing.
I mean, they've completely removed characters
which-
and changed
are
this
you
thing
talking
over
about- are you talking about
15.
yeah, the Sid in this
20
game is like a
years is-
super hot like mechanic lady,
I took a picture of her.
That's
Yeah.
not Sid. That's Cindy.
Oh,
Cindy. But like
Sydney.
in the trailer for this game, there's a conversation where he's having with a character whose clothes are very much
Well,
reminiscent
that's
of
probably
Cindy.
Sid. That's probably.
It must be Sid.
and Cindy
I would-
works for Sid.
But Cindy is not in the trailer, so it just makes me wonder if they focus tested and realized that's not going to work, so they just replaced him with Sid.
Oh, shit.
You never know. You never
That
know.
dude
Kinda
just slapped that
fucking
woman.
That
come
dude
out.
just slapped the
She's
lady.
like-
You get to see Shiva, and
That's
Leviathan.
Leviathan.
there's Shiva. Woo! Anyways,
Where's Ifrit?
they have not shown Ifrit yet.
Ifrit's
He'll
in
be
there.
Ifrit's
there.
always like one of the.
He'll be
They
there.
mentioned Ifrit in the leak. The leak that happened like a year ago. Or
All right.
whatever.
I just want this game to fucking come out so we can stop talking about it.
We haven't
What
talked
does that
about
even
that. We haven't
mean?
even talked about it that much.
Is this something you already hate, Chris Davis? Is
No,
this
I
one of
don't
those games?
hate it. I would like to play it one day when it eventually comes to PC. But I'm like, Square Enix is putting all of their eggs in their basket with this fucking
It's a
game.
Final Fantasy game. Of course they are.
I get that, but they've got a fucking anime.
Technically,
They've got
it's
a
a Final
fucking
Fantasy
movie.
13 spinoff.
They've got the game. They've got a ton of different things they're doing with this. I'm like,
yeah.
stop fucking talking about it. Just fucking release
What
the
is
game. so we can play
Where's
it.
Final Fantasy 16? Because at some point in time they had to have already started the planning for actual Final Fantasy 15, which I'm sure got moved into being Final Fantasy 16.
We won't see.
Shouldn't we see that soon?
No, we won't see that until 2020 because we've got the 7 remakes.
No. Square Enix has a history of announcing of talking about Final Fantasies while other Final Fantasies still haven't come out.
Well, the first E3 I ever went to, they announced 2 Final Fantasies at once.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
I think that 7's going to take so much focus.
Well, I mean, you're right. I think after this, they're going to shift gears. They're going Kingdom Hearts and then Final Fantasy 7 Remake before we ever see 16.
They need to get back to like
game that got delayed,
90 Squaresoft, where they were churning out games every year and they were all dope and different and cool. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, look at all the Squaresoft RPGs that came out on the PlayStation 1. You know, a console that existed from like 95 to 2000. Like, we were getting Final Fantasies like every 18 months, and you were still getting stuff like Xenogears and Vagrant Story and Chrono Cross. They've brought in Saga Frontier. Like, there were so many games that Squaresoft was putting out. Now it's like one Final Fantasy every 10 fucking years. What is going on?
Well, Brad, I can tell you what's happening. First of all, they absorbed Enix. They broadened their portfolio.
Or no, Enix bought Square.
Whatever. There was a business transaction between 2 companies, made it a completely new entity. On top of that, they decided to broaden their portfolio and instead become someone that's not just that JRPG developer. Now they get their hands in all the different pots. They have fucking Hitman, they have Tomb Raider, they're doing all of that shit. So of course that's going to cut back on the number of JRPGs you see. And then on top of that, development has become so costly and so fucking complicated now that it's fucking impossible. And like their standard of their quote unquote, I'm going to put this in quotes, their standard of quality has been elevated that like you know, a little team.
You're saying their standards were lower back then?
What I'm saying is like it's hard to develop games. It's harder to develop games now than it was before.
I mean, ask Ubisoft. They probably would disagree. Or Activision.
Well, do you want the Ubisoftification of your
No,
Final Fantasy?
I just want one more than every 10 years. Or, you know.
You mean one that you're just waiting for the one that you love because the last few haven't really been.
No, but I mean, when was 13?
Cup of tea.
When was 13?
Well, Lightning Returns was.
Don't say Lightning Returns.
Lightning Returns is the
it was
best.
3
I'm talking about Final Fantasy. When was Final Fantasy 13?
Well, the first E3 I ever went to, they showed Final Fantasy 13, and that was what, 7 years ago.
I believe that was.
We're getting 2
10?
this year. This fucker, is he talking about World of Final Fantasy? Do not bring up that baby shit, okay? That does not count. That does not fucking count.
Point is, development has gotten way more complicated. I think that is the crux of the answer. Like,
yeah,
they're not just going to be able to crank out a game the size of Final Fantasy with the polish of a Final Fantasy game as quickly as
especially when they increase the scope to that fucking level, because that's fucking gigantic.
It is. Fucking
I mean, that's
large.
amazingly huge.
It is fucking large. I think.
Take my old ass back to the. Dude, I played World of Final Fantasy. That thing is poop from a butt.
All right. Let's move on, shall we? I think that's all we have news-wise. I'm sure there's going to be more Tokyo Game Show stuff to talk about next week because it literally just started. All right. Well, it is time. We're gonna do community. Again, Nolan is out for the next 3 weeks, so sorry for that. But I'm gonna go ahead and read through some questions, some Patreon-related questions from you guys, from our supporters on Patreon, patreon.com/4Player.
Did you incorporate the community song into your?
Fuck, I didn't. Someone needs to remind me of these things. Fuck. As soon as we finish recording a podcast, I instantly have to go like, oh, now I gotta edit it, and I just go into this zone. It's at this point, it's like muscle memory. I know exactly what to fucking do. And
Hold on.
Anytime I have to deviate from that, I fucking forget.
Can I just? I got a rant for like 60 seconds here, okay?
You have 45.
I know people think I'm. I know I've been calling
30
World of Final Fantasy a fucking baby game long before I played it. I finally played it. Listen, man. All you people out there who are excited for that game, you need to put your fucking expectations in check. I'm being serious about this. I don't think it is what you think it is.
Well, you need to describe
is a baby game with completely overly simplistic like mechanics and systems, and like it is a baby game. That's all I'm saying.
Well, there's like
Put your expectations
Brad.
in check. It has a really nice, beautiful art style, and I think it looks like dog shit, but like technically, it's impressive. It is a technically, visually pleasing game. The art style's stupid, but that's fine. I'm saying, like, if you are expecting an RPG that is deep and satisfying, I don't think this is like the Mystic Quest of Final Fantasy. It is
Name dropping Mystic Quest.
bad
Holy
and boring and baby. I don't know who this is for, but it is definitely, I don't think, for all these people in chat who are hyped about it. That's all I'm saying.
I think people would reel in their expectations.
I think people in
they
chat
actually put
should
out a gameplay.
I think people should.
They really haven't been showing anything in the game other than cinematics.
I think.
Well,
Well,
no,
it was playable.
there's stuff out there. Go watch some in-depth previews.
I think everyone should listen to what Brad has to say, but also take it with a grain of salt because he also doesn't like Spyro because it's a baby game, and Spyro is a wonderful, delightful game, despite maybe being made for babies.
It is a fantastic baby game.
It's a fantastic baby. Spyro is an excellent baby game.
Even Kingdom Hearts people, it is even babier than you.
Hey, I like Kingdom Hearts, you fuckhead.
That's what I'm saying. It's for bigger babies than you.
Go fuck yourself, Brad. All right. Can I read the fucking... Can we start with viewer questions this week? Our first question comes from Piofst.
Yeah.
Rigged.
He says... Oh, yeah, by the way, Piofst is our winner for the giveaway for the month of August. Congratulations, Piofst. Piofst. Sorry, I couldn't say it. Watching the new story trailer for Valkyria Azure Revolution, which, by the way, there was a new trailer at TGS.
Jesus Christ. Can someone say some good news on this? I'm sorry. I'm being rude. Go ahead.
Wait, was that directed at me?
No, that game's pissing me off too.
Brad's very cranky today. Watching the new story trailer for Valkyria Azure Revolution, the thing I missed most from Valkyria Chronicles was its art style, which made the game look like it had been sketched. Video games have plenty of styles, but has there been any that you really preferred? Art styles, just in general.
Wait.
Art styles?
Had there been any art styles in video games that you just loved? Just
Yeah, sure.
preferred?
No.
Anything you wish you would see
I really
more
like the
of in
look
industry?
of Grow Home. You
But
know?
that's like so unique. That would never really be applied. Like that's a art style that is so specific to that one game. I don't think you would ever see that style replicated.
It's like it's low poly. It's got very flat textures, but it's still got like very unique, plant life and stuff. I don't know. It's cool. I mean, I like the look of it.
He mentions Valkyria Chronicles, and that
that
was a really cool art style.
That is because it always had that like
sketchiness to it.
that sketchy overlay.
Okami.
Okami has
That's a great fucking art style.
Okami is a
Recore has a pretty cool art style.
Shut the fuck.
The Wind Waker art
just
style.
shut your mouth.
I like the Wind Waker art style.
Yeah, Wind Waker is definitely a classic. Like that Wind Waker is a game that will never age. I think that game will be beautiful no matter when you play it. Mm-hmm. I think that
Dark
is,
Cloud 2.
Just fucking pops.
Yeah, we're naming lots of games, lots of games that have like a more
What are games
artistic
that look
style
good?
to it that is definitely going to age. I think that is the telling. That is-
Limbo. Limbo, sure, but
Dude, I think
Inside
had an incredible,
yeah.
incredible art style. Like even more striking than Limbo in a lot of
the
ways.
production design.
That whole sequence in the beginning where you're running through the woods in Inside is fucking.
Yeah,
great.
that's definitely one of those games where like any second of that game you could like pop out and it would be a wonderful like wallpaper for your desktop.
Exactly. Our next question comes from Mr. Green Toast. Says, are there any old multiplayer games from your past that you wish were still around today for others to play online? For me,
Splinter Cell Chaos Theory.
I haven't finished yet. For me, I always loved the dumb N64 multiplayer of Conker's Bad Fur Day, but the Xbox Live and Reloaded remake changed the whole structure of the multiplayer into a totally different game.
Splinter Cell Chaos Theory.
Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, Chris Davis would like to be known.
Desperately.
One of the older or really at this point I'll take any of the Assassin's Creed multiplayers. If any of them
Agreed.
are still
Revelations especially.
Yeah.
You're talking about specifically the
Yeah,
multiplayer?
Revelations.
Yeah,
That's a good
specifically multiplayer, and this is an answer I would give, but there is now a version out there to play very recently. In fact, that we played on the feet, GoldenEye. The original GoldenEye is completely unplayable. Completely
So
unplayable.
play Time Splitters.
dog shit.
So play the Source
But
game.
I have such an affinity. I have such nostalgia for GoldenEye that I wish I could relive. Wish I could play that and relive it. And
You wish you could erase better games from your memory so that you'd enjoy it.
yeah, yeah.
Resident Evil Outbreak, specifically File 2.
I'm sorry, you couldn't see the face I was just making over the audio.
These are multiplayer games that you want to be remade or re-released?
No,
Man.
what multiplayer games out there do you wish were still around and available for people to
Like
play?
we're still active.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, still had
I could
active
say
community.
Phantom Dust, but apparently that's
Dude.
happening.
How about
Apparently, maybe.
Batman Arkham Origins multiplayer?
Stop it.
It was so good.
Mass Effect 3, I would say.
That's still
that was
around.
bad.
We're looking for.
It's but the audience for it is like.
But someone
2
could
digits.
technically pick up a copy of Mass Effect 3, pop it into an Xbox, and play that.
Absolutely could.
We're talking about games that are pretty much.
Red Faction Guerrilla. That was dope as hell.
That was pretty good, yeah.
Still technically, or are the servers down for that or something?
I don't think
Wow.
they are.
Well, I mean, everything
There's no-
I've mentioned too is like stuff that. I mean, I bet if you went and popped in Assassin's Creed Revelations and multiplayer servers
That's
are still
why I think
up,
you-
but there's nobody fucking playing it.
But if you go way back, like I think you'll find a lot of them on N64. Fucking Diddy Kong Racing, man. I wish I could play more Diddy Kong Racing multiplayer. That game is fucking
Man,
dope.
Why
I
can't
wish
you play that
I wish
multiplayer?
all the
Because
role
the controller,
playing.
you can't play with that fucking controller anymore.
I wish all the role playing servers on Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast were still.
They're shutting down the multiplayer for the Devil's Third at the end of the year.
Oh, how
The
tragic.
Devil's Turd. Holy shit!
Oh no!
All right, our next
That-
question
That game
comes
was
from
long
Jerose. He says, "Any plans to bring back Terror Tuesday or any old segment that you guys used to do?" Way to put us on the spot.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jerose.
No, we don't do that anymore.
Terror Tuesday. I mean, I don't know.
It's all about logistics.
We're probably
man.
just gonna stop playing video games.
It's
Really.
all,
Yeah, it's kind of a bother.
if it keeps going down this path, we're just gonna fucking just screw it all.
I mean,
we got to do something for Halloween, right? Play scary stuff.
I think you can expect like certain events like board game night, like mini Project M's out of us right now, but events that require us to come together,
it's all logistics.
It's a problem because we're spread out all across Austin.
Yeah.
all these
And-
people got to go to. The only night I could do it is Thursday.
I can tell you right now.
and all these people got to go to bed. They can't stay up super late.
I can
on
tell you right
Thursday.
now. There's going to be something special for Resident Evil 7 when it happens. That I plan on being a part of. One way, whether these fuckers are a part of it or not, I fully intend on playing
Were
that
you
game.
going to tell us about it?
I fucking hope that game.
I
is
fully
good.
intend on playing that game launch night on the feed, hopefully with other people involved. That's there will of course be special occasions where yes, we play horror games together in a group.
To answer the question, yes, it might take a little bit more planning on our part, but it is something we will do.
Yes.
It's just a timing thing. I mean,
All right.
nobody has the fucking time.
We
and
have a
everybody
question
goes to
from
bed
Nick the
early.
Batman that I'm excited to read.
Oh no!
It's a marry, fuck, kill.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
All right, this is a weird one. Marry, fuck, kill.
No such thing.
A beautiful, regal Bengal tiger.
Oh, God.
A sexy, sultry great white shark.
Ooh.
A handsome and loyal grizzly bear.
Oh.
P.S. I'm not a furry, but I feel this question says a lot about the content of one's character.
Definitely marry the bear, just because. Imagine those cool Sunday mornings where you're laying in bed and it's just so cuddly and warm. Oh, that'd be great. Fuck the Bengal tiger, because we all need a little spice in our life sometimes, right? And kill the sharks, because I hate things that live in the ocean. Like,
Lives in the ocean, just fuck
yeah,
it.
I just wish the oceans were gone.
I mean, he's told me this before, like in private conversation. That is
I just
true.
fucking hate things that live in the sea. They're
You
unnatural.
know what?
and
I will
horrible.
completely 100% agree with Krispy here on that one.
Anyone wish to refute?
Definitely marry the bear.
That's exactly what...
Kind of want to
Yeah.
say kill the tiger. Was it?
You want to fuck a
You wanna
shark?
kill the- Oh no! He's got a good point. If you kill the tiger, you could make a bitchin' cape out of its fur.
That's true. Or a nice
Dude.
rug
Yeah, dude.
Well,
I'm just saying.
before you're arrested, anyway.
I'm just
That's
saying.
poaching.
But
All
would
right.
you rather stick your dick in a tiger or a shark? Is really what it comes down
wanna
to.
know-
Because obviously you're gonna marry the bear.
yeah.
Are
Bears,
these female animals, or do I gotta find the shark's
At
butthole?
what
do
point-
sharks even have buttholes?
Yeah. How else do they poop? It doesn't just come back out
sharks
their
poop?
mouth.
Are they like turds that pinch off?
Yeah, well, I don't know. It seems like a lot of sea creatures just kind of do like a fucking poop cloud in the water. Like, because they live in water, the nature of pooping is a little different. They just emit these like clouds of feces instead of like a little submarine.
I saw a video of a whale
launcher.
pooping once, and it changed my life.
Of a whale.
It's fucking horrifying, man. It is horrifying. Oh my god. Does anybody else have any?
As long as you don't have to get fucked by a whale.
I mean, we're doing the fucking here, okay?
Can the animals talk?
Saying.
Like, are they super sentient?
Y'all ask
or are they
way
just regular
too many
animals?
questions.
Oh, that's how you play the game, man. I mean, if I'm gonna end up marrying an animal for the rest of my life, I want to know what I'm getting into.
All right, last question of the night comes from SMG Sterling. By some cruel turn of fate, every one of you dies in a freak accident. You arrive in the afterlife, and the video game gods judge you unworthy.
Cool.
And you are cast into a terrible and unbearable video game themed hell, designed especially for you. This actually sounds like it's possible. What would be your own personal video game hell?
Watch Dogs.
What?
That game is so lame.
Okay, now you're just trying to like.
No, I fucking truly believe it. Someone pull up. Is there footage of me playing Watch Dogs on the feed?
Please.
I wanted to kill myself. I was so bored.
I played that game for 40 hours and loved it. Put it in my top 10. Go fuck yourself, Brad. That cannot be your answer.
Ah, guys, I got this. It's so fucking stupid. I hate that game. I hate it so much.
You didn't even get around to playing the multiplayer,
Brad,
which is one of the best
I
parts of that
refuse
game.
to believe that of all the rants you've done on this podcast, you would choose Watch Dogs as your video game hell. I feel like you would be stuck in the snowball fight from Final Fantasy Tactics 2, like, for eternity. I feel like that would be...
call it Final Fantasy Tactics.
See?
You asshole.
See? That comment elicited a response that I would expect from you.
No, I mean...
I think your Watch Dogs answer is just trolling.
I don't want to play my video game hell is not a bad game. It's a boring one.
You have to play Spyro, the first level.
I'd rather play Spyro than Watch
over
Dogs.
and over again for the rest of eternity. Mine is X-Blades on hard with near infinite life.
Wait, on what? On X-Blades? Why do you keep bringing up X-Blades?
Because that is the one game that I wish I could erase from my existence. I am ashamed that I have 30 gamer score in that game because I can't remove it. It won't leave me.
It's a permanent scar on your.
It's terrible.
All right.
My video game hell is sitting in a slightly uncomfortable room, and I can only play video games on a shitty CRT monitor that kind of blinks back and forth between
that would be Jack's
color
heaven.
and black and white. And the only games I can play are like these beloved Nostalgia Fest games that I never played in the day. And there's just like 1,000 other people in the room who love that game judging me every second while I'm playing it and being like, "Oh my god, he didn't get the fucking ice rod. What a fucking idiot!"
They're saying it out loud.
Yeah, and they're like
too.
whispering to each other, and every once in a while I catch a hint of it, and like my soul just shrivels a little bit more. And then at the end of the game, I'm like, "That was cool," and they all just fucking hate me because I didn't whip my dick out and come all over the fucking game.
You know, those
cartridge.
classic games probably look better on a CRT.
Wow.
Oh my god, I'm in hell.
You know, I feel like
I'm in hell.
I feel like my video game hell would be the last 2 hours of my Super Metroid run in the Project M with Krispy. Just me by myself trying to beat the final boss of Super Metroid, but being eternally stuck. Like knowing that I would never be able to perform good enough to beat the boss. Like that would be my hell for eternity. Just sitting there, stuck at that level of skill where I was really struggling with that boss and never being able to shake it just for the rest of eternity.
But like you don't even get the last save point before the boss. You have to go to the save point before that one every time you die.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 1.
Brad's answer is actually boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about
Exactly.
Jericho? What about Jericho?
Exactly.
Jericho?
Jericho's fun to hate. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't want to be stuck in hell playing
Jericho's like a
either.
Manos Hand of Fate kind of thing.
Oh, God.
It is really supremely bad.
It is bad. All right. Thank you guys for your questions. If you would like to leave questions, if you're a supporter on Patreon, you can leave your questions in the post that we put up every week prior to the start of the podcast at patreon.com/4Player. Last reminder, too, we started a community Discord. You can check it out. It's discord.gg/4Player if you're interested. But now, let's wrap up the show with the 4-player minute.
You said floor payer.
I know. I'm tired. 4-player minute. Hype, sweat, fuck you, and thank you. Brad is, of course, going to start us off.
My sweat is... No, my hype is for The Last Guardian. Did y'all see that new trailer?
I did, yes.
I mean, I saw it, yeah.
It's the one thing that's still coming out this year that really has the opportunity, the chance to really kind of surprise us, because we don't really know what we're getting here. We kind of do, but we kind of don't. But like, I think it's the one that has the biggest chance of sort of catching us off guard. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna fall in love with that fucking animal, man.
Yeah, I can't wait till we have to kill it at the end.
Yeah, I know, right?
But, they're going to make us do it, right?
Yeah.
But like,
They're going to put the
whatever.
gun...
It's like you got to put your knife like right in its throat and just like draw a line across it.
You
cut its
do or you
esophagus
don't,
open.
but it's gonna be something special, man.
You do that with move support too.
I can't wait. And even if that game is like bad, like it's gonna be a spectacular failure. There's no way a Team Eco game is just gonna be boring.
7 out of 10.
Yeah,
You know
I
what?
want it either to be a 2 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. You know what I mean?
You don't want it to fall in
There's
At
no
the very
room for
least-
mediocrity with this game.
At the very least, it's going to be interesting to see where it falls.
My fuck you goes to Windows 10 and the Microsoft Store and all the bullshit I had to do. Just like I spent hours just trying to figure out how to obtain Recore after I already spent money on it. I could. Oh my god!
That was the sound of Brad losing his mind.
I just we like Steam for a reason, and yeah. My fuck you goes to me for not. I don't. There's a lot of games that are out right now that I want to play, and I don't have a lot of money to spend on games. In fact, I don't have any money to spend on games, but I bought Recore anyways because I really wanted to play it. But you know what? The Divinity Original Sin 2 alpha launched today, and like early access, and it's like it's gonna it's killing me. It kills me. It kills me to know there are people out there playing and enjoying that thing, but I can't play an unfinished version of that game. I
Have they
can't do
said
it.
what the final when's going to come out of?
They're hoping to make it by the end of the year,
Okay.
but they're saying there's a chance it could be delayed into 2017. I think originally it was supposed to be December, but
Well, the first game was like that, right? It went into early access.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was a Kickstarter. Man, the other one that's killing me right now is like Picross 3D 2. I want it so bad. I love Picross. I love Picross 3D even more, but Picross 3D 2 looks so good, but it's $30 and I bought Recore, because I wanted to stream it for you guys. Fuck, man, I want it so bad. I don't have the money for it. I'm gonna have to fucking rob a bank or something.
I mean, that's the logical solution.
Fuck.
All right, Krispy, you're up.
Okay. My hype this week is actually not for a video game, it's for a movie. The Doctor Strange hype is starting to set in. Like super hard.
When does that come out?
December?
Oh.
Did you pick up that Civil War?
No.
I did.
No, I don't read comics anymore. Fuck that shit.
No, I'm talking about the movie.
Oh, it came out, didn't it? No, I haven't.
Nick bought a comic?
It's like,
wait,
I
what?
said something in your brain.
No, but
immediately
you
went
said
to
Civil
comics.
War, and I immediately thought you were talking about Civil War 2, which
I know,
I haven't read, but I've been hearing some really weird things about. But yeah, dude, Doctor Strange looks so fucking cool, man. Oh my god, like I was just watching some trailers today, and he's like got the fucking Eye of Agamotto, and like his cape's like it looks so cool, and he's doing all his incantations, and it's got the fucking runes on his hands. Like, I can't fucking wait for that game or movie. The only way it could be better is if he had the fucking like leopard print gloves that he has in the comic books. That'd be awesome. But that looks ridiculous.
Man, if that
God, I
movie
can't wait for that
bombs,
movie. Oh, it looks
if
so.
that movie bombs, I'm worried
Who
about.
do you like
Krispy.
better, Doctor Strange or Cyclops?
Oh, dude. I mean, they're just different, man. They're just so different. Doctor Strange is really cool. The current solo run of Doctor Strange has been fucking incredible too. So I'd probably have to go with that. My sweat goes to Metroid Prime just because I like now that we're talking about it, like I've kind of narrowed in on like where I started to drop out of that game, and it's been long enough now that like
No, I mean, I was really upset. I was really like, you stopped at literally the worst place you could have possibly put down that game, and that's what I told you weeks ago or months ago or whatever it was. Like, it was literally the worst place in that entire game you could have stopped.
I mean,
because
it's not like I can't
the rest of the game
It's not
depends
like
on
I
your
can't go
knowledge
back.
of the world, and you've gotten away from it.
I mean, I guess I didn't have a good idea of the world to begin with, though.
I know, but like that's when it starts going together. I don't know.
It's all right. Continue.
My fuck you
How
for the
many
week
E-tanks do you
goes
have?
to Brad for making me play that shit, and my
How many fucking health bars did you get in that game?
yeah,
Was it almost all the way full?
There was a health bar.
I mean, how many? How many?
I think it was like 4 or 5. I think. Does that sound right?
Oh God, no!
2, 6. How much? What do you want from me?
It should have been a lot.
I don't know if it was. I don't know.
Okay.
I remember getting
We
like
got-
7, 8.
this
or
is a
8.
4-player
Wait, are
minute.
you really at the point where you're required to collect all the artifacts?
Well,
Or did you just find?
it's not like that game really tells you what's going on. Like, if you don't do anything for a while, the game's like, hey, you should go here on the map. But it's not like I really fucking know what I'm doing at any given moment. Like, I did go to the temple, and they're like, okay, you need to get into the crater, and the only way to do that is to get past the temple, and to do that, you need to go find all the artifacts. So I assume that means I'm at that part of the game.
I'm gonna have to look at the archive. Oh shit, the archive's gone. Somebody in chat somebody who knows Metroid Prime well needs to catch me up.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a challenge we take down together, Krispy.
Maybe that's just
Because it's been a long time since I played the original.
Guys.
Maybe it's just the way I have to do it.
Guys.
I'm going to forego my fuck you and thank you for the week because, like I said, I'm dead inside and I don't feel things like gratitude or hatred anymore. So,
Fair enough. Chris Davis.
All right. My hype this week, I kind of want to put it, I would obviously put it towards the new Godzilla film, which I bought 7 tickets for. But I would like to put it towards a different film.
that was optimistic.
I know what his sweat is.
Well, okay. So we're going to go see, at least my friends and I are going to go see
Oh,
Godzilla.
that's fucking rude.
Whoa.
I bought 7 tickets. You got 3 chances here to get in on this.
That's rude. My friends, as
If
You
they're
don't
not-
know them.
No, but okay.
Therefore, they're my friends.
Hey, God, this 4-player minute, guys.
The day
Come on.
before the Godzilla screening on October 10th, the IMAX is doing a projector upgrade with like a laser system, something like that. And they're going to be showing one showing of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
It's
Oh,
already
yeah.
sold out. I checked today.
But
I thought
Chris
you couldn't buy
Davis has
tickets
7
yet.
tickets.
I'm just joking.
Well, no, you can't, I don't think you can buy tickets for it yet. But oh my god, I never saw that movie in theaters, and I really, really fucking want to. So,
Well, that
I
could be
have
cool.
Already signed up for ticket notifications.
Hey,
so.
just to let you know, the Nazis' heads do still blow up at the end of the movie.
Yeah, but it's so much
more like
bigger
they
and
melt.
prettier.
Well, one of them straight up blows up. The others kind of like melt. The one guy kind of like shrivels. The other dude's just like, ah, and then his head
That
explodes.
shit scarred me
And then
when
the
I was a
other
kid.
dude, like, that dude fucking melted. That
Shit
was
scarred me when I was a kid.
My sweat goes towards Titanfall 2 because EA are being assholes and not actually delaying that game because it's right up against launch of Battlefield and a bunch of other games, and they're essentially sending it to fucking die.
Sending it to die.
And it needs a fucking chance. Because
Wait,
Titanfall
which
1
could
was
get delayed.
Titanfall 2.
Titanfall 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I heard a lot of impressions on that game kind of soured after the beta.
That has a campaign though.
It's got a campaign, and they've taken a lot of feedback, and they're incorporating it.
It is going to be 5 hours. long.
Yeah, 5 hour campaign.
My fuck you of the week goes to Final Fantasy 15 because I am so aggravated by the thought that this 100+ hour RPG potentially has a fucking season pass on it. With content they've announced that's going to arrive after the season pass and it's not going to be part of it. What the fuck is that bullshit? Why does a
Welcome to the
JRPG
wonderful world of video games.
welcome to the nature of video games. Every game has that.
I understand that,
It's
but this is a JRPG, a game that's supposed to. I
don't think
I'm not
anything
gonna
is
devote additional
immune
100
at this
hours
point.
to play this game.
Nothing is immune to this at this point. You're going to have to just get used to it.
It's fucking ridiculous.
It is fucking ridiculous, but get used to it.
In fact, Deus Ex's
the reality.
season pass is ridiculous too.
I mean, who buys a season pass anyways?
people that want to keep enjoying a game.
When's the last season pass y'all bought?
I've never bought a season pass.
I mean,
you know what the simple solution is to that? Play
the
the
last
game.
season pass I bought. You want to know what the last season pass I bought was?
Batman.
Yes, it was Batman Arkham Knight.
How'd that go?
It didn't.
Just don't buy a fucking season pass.
It didn't at all.
Look, if you don't buy the season pass, you can wait till the shit comes out. Sure, you're gonna spend an extra $5, but you have the luxury of reading the fucking review and finding out if it's worth your fucking time or not.
And you can cherry pick the content you really want.
Yeah.
And I guess my thank you this week goes to Carlos for actually being in chat and not being in here, so I could be on the podcast.
That is true. That is true. Carlos was unable to make it tonight.
He didn't just make it; he bailed.
Actually, since I only took half of my 4-player minute, I'm gonna add a double-sized hype for Dishonored 2. Because that shit's
game
coming
is still
up.
coming.
Agreed.
That shit's coming up.
You know what game survived the great delay of 2016?
The great culling.
Wait, you
Thank
can't say
God.
that yet. Did it go gold?
No.
Well, then
Not yet.
we
never
don't.
say
You're
never.
right.
Tomorrow we're gonna hear that again.
What are you gonna play Dishonored 2 on, Nick?
My PS4 Pro.
It's on the list.
Even though it's the same fucking product, Brad.
I'm gonna be
not
playing the
saying it's the
shitty
same- not
old
the same
PS4
product.
version.
It's just every time Brad opens his mouth to complain about the PS4 Pro, it comes out like it sounds like he's implying there's going to be two different versions of the game, when in fact there is one.
I'm going to play the
There
superior
is
PC version.
two different consoles.
There's two sides.
You
to
can't
the
walk
same
into a
version.
store and say, "I will take the PS4 Pro version of this game."
I'm not saying you are, but that doesn't mean there's not two versions of it.
True.
Oh my god. Anyways, sorry. I'll start with my hype this week is Dark Souls 3. I finished Dark Souls 2.
Woo!
I'm done with it. I've even beat I'm about 1.5
Dude,
of the DLCs.
You're fucking Dark Souls and
I'm a Dark Souls player.
do you like it?
Yeah.
Are you like obsessed with it?
I mean, at this point, I kind of don't want to play another Dark Souls
You
game.
fucking
I mean,
Fairweather fan.
No, I mean,
you
I
fucking noob.
Dude, this
I
is
bet you haven't even done a fucking shirtless, no weapon, no die run.
Well, no, I haven't.
Fuck you.
I bet you think Dark Souls 2 is canon.
You haven't even beat the original Dark Souls 5 times using only Donkey Konga Kongas.
It's true.
Have you?
I hate that that's a thing. That is a real fucking
You will
thing.
never be that
My
good.
fuck you of the week goes to those people.
Have you
I
at least
heard
beaten it with a
Jaeger-
Guitar Hero controller?
Fuck you.
Jaeger on Twitter today says Dark Souls 2 is more of a spin-off.
Oh, shit.
Oh
Oh, shit.
God.
Shots fired. Dropping bombs.
None of this like, oh, they're all connected shit start to happen until Dark Souls 3's bullshit fan service in the first fucking place, which had fucking Demon Souls fan service in it too. So what the fuck are you talking about?
Hey, stop hijacking my 4-player minute.
The scrub.
My hype is for Dark Souls 3. Even though I'm kind of like at the point where I want to take a break, I played 2 Dark Souls games this year so I could get through that point to be ready to play Dark Souls 3 this year, and I did it. I accomplished what I set out to do. Now I just got to play Dark Souls 3, which I can do comfortably now because like 2 or 3 games that I was interested in playing have been pushed out of 2016.
Dude,
so
when
woohoo!
you finish
Neo's not coming out. That's in the news too. Neo is coming out early 2017, which is my thank you for the week. Thank you for not releasing that game in 2016 because I didn't know when the fuck I was gonna have time to play it.
we don't like having good games every year anyway, so
I mean, I heard between Dishonored and fucking Final Fantasy 15 and Watch Dogs 2 and fucking Last Guardian, like I need some time, man. I need some time.
Dude.
And now I have time.
here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna shut everybody up. Once you finish Dark Souls 3, you and I together are going to start new playthroughs of Demon Souls, and we're gonna fucking force each other to finish it.
I like this idea.
Project M.
My sweat?
No.
No.
No, not even a little.
My sweat does go to The Last Guardian, not necessarily because of some of the stuff coming out of TGS where people were talking about the controls being funky and the camera being funky,
It's actually been quite positive.
which is completely to be expected. I think the biggest complaint that kind of struck me as odd was people were talking about how the animal doesn't respond to the player all the time because they tried to make it react and respond like an actual animal, which is kind of the point. I understand how that could be frustrating, but I feel like you should know they were setting out to do that in the first place going in. So that seems kind of strange to me. I'm more worried about it just because it's coming out because of this delay. It's coming out like a week after Final Fantasy 15. I'm still going to be balls deep in Final Fantasy 15, and I'm not going to want to just stop playing 15 to suddenly play The Last Guardian. It's just kind of...
But Nick, what about Dead Rising 4? It comes out the same day.
Well, Dead Rising is not necessarily on the top of my to-do list.
Is Rob Riggle...
Did you just scoff?
Yes!
Okay.
I scoff at you, sir.
Is Rob Riggle still in Dead Rising?
That is an Xbox game. Oh, wait, no, it's not. Wait, is it?
And my fuck
No.
you goes to
NPC.
Sony
Oh.
for the delays. More specifically for the Last Guardian delay because you pushed it back to right after Final... I know, like, you don't have to worry about a lot of the same stuff that other games have to worry about because it's The Last Guardian. People are going to fucking play that game no matter when you release it because of its development and its history. But really, a week after Final Fantasy, like probably one of the biggest games of the fucking year in terms of like actual scope, and it's kind of like, really? Why'd you have to go and do that? Like, that's fucking shitty.
It's the most anticipated 7 out of 10 of the year.
I would have rather than release it on like December 31st, honestly, like the last day of the year, than fucking mere days after Final Fantasy 15. That's gonna be a tough week.
He'll be all right, Nick. He'll be all right. It's going to be good. It's going to be good times.
get
It's
through
going to be
this.
good times. Or horribly disappointing and depressing because they could both suck.
Speaking of horrible and depressing, this podcast is over.
Nice.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. 4playernetwork.com is the website, of course. You don't forget to find us on Discord, discord.gg/4player. You can also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. You can watch us broadcast games every single night over at 4pp.tv. I think that's all we got. Is there anything else before I close this out? Everybody wave. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thanks for listening.
Goodbye.
We'll be
Goodbye.
back.
Goodbye.
We will be back next
Goodbye.
Thursday night
Goodbye.
for
Goodbye.
another episode. We'll see you then.
Y'all come back down here.